So, are we all here now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have another question.
No.
I never actually did this. How do you change your icon?
For what?
You have to go out of the game.
You have to do it in your
Oh,
profile.
it's the big.
It's
There's
your
no
overall
per
roll
zone.
20 icon.
Yeah, they
Which
have
I
a...
really wish they would.
Change.
I'd love game-based
That's
icons.
the reason why mine
That'd be great.
hasn't bothered to change in a while.
I think that's also why mine hasn't changed.
There you go, Pick.
I mean, the very part of it was probably giving your just asked questions. Why not know now?
I looked multiple times and just never could figure it out.
Make sure the dogs are locked inside. Alright. Alright. Okay, I'm minimizing OBS. I'm not looking at it for the remainder of the night. Remind me at the end of the game to turn that off.
Why not 10 hours of
really?
recording?
No! Why does it have so much 1 hour run life recording going on?
Also-
For some reason, it only picks up Sam's voice.
I will give a heads up. The game may run short tonight, simply because this is my first time doing pacing for this kind of shit. Or it might. I really don't want it to run long. And I've got an ending planned for the session, so might be a bit wonky.
Fair.
A little bit.
No problem. I mean,
It's
we're
okay,
starting
you're
level
being
0.
brave and you're
That
doing
makes sense.
custom content on your first time through. This will be great.
Fuck! Brave or foolish?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand the difference.
Bravish.
Okay. Oh
Right.
my god, I can't see anybody else's character sheets. What happened?
I cleaned up. I deleted them all.
They went away! I'm the only character.
We're just here to watch you deal with these NPCs we created.
These are all NPCs around us.
Okay, now are we all here?
Can we throw someone into the well?
We have been every time, sadly.
I think Sam
Get
was making her way
distracted.
to the desk. Okay, so
No, I'm actually
Becky-
at the desk. I've been sitting here. Sorry.
Okay,
I am here. Yes. Yes. I've
Toby.
just been snacking.
Yes.
Kronos,
Yo.
Haddan,
Uh-huh.
Marcus,
Yes.
Addy. Addy?
Allie!
Oh no,
Yes.
Allie's gone.
Okay. Right. So, to start, would everyone like to introduce their characters?
No.
Yes, you would. Blackie, you just volunteered to start.
That's exactly why I didn't answer that way, despite wanting
It was
to.
a trick. It was a trick. I was wise to the trick.
I knew it was a trick and I knew I wasn't getting away with it. So I figured might as well just jump in, right? And I may have killed Toby, so I mean, don't get stepped on by a
Someone died. Can we get XP?
Yeah.
Yes.
How much?
Sweet.
It's added on to the end of the total, don't worry. Okay. Argy Bargy. And
Very good.
Carrick and Faldit, Gifton, Is it Cassiopeia? Yeah.
Yes,
sure.
much like the star Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia.
Alright.
Or is it Cassiopeia?
Okay,
Leviosa.
Carrick, you go ahead and start.
I think it's Cassiopeia.
Leviosa.
So yes, Carrick Marsk. He is half elf. He stands about 5'7". He's got violet eyes. Don't ask me why, because I was bored. Black, short, swept back hair, and he's got the little itty bitty half elf ears, pointy. He keeps himself shaven, very well shaven. He looks like a little kid. He will eventually be dressing in fine clothes once everything goes down. But he has the kind of face that catches a lady's eye, and unfortunately, he cannot pass up a smiling, pretty lady.
Ooh. Okay. Argy. Argy.
Aggie.
I am the town brewer, and by extension, the town drunk. A short wood elf with copper hair. And as far as anyone can remember, I've been here pretty much their whole lives. Or the whole time they've been here. And no one really remembers the exact point she ended up in the town. Who's alive still?
Okay. And say your name, you fuck, please. I need to know.
Oh, Archie Thal.
Argy. Okay.
I probably should have mentioned that I work in the
I'll be
tavern
perfectly
as a
honest,
server.
I fluctuate back and forth on it too. So
Okay, cool.
RG or RG works.
She's so
Okay.
drunk she doesn't know her name.
Yeah, pretty much.
Faldia.
All right. I'm an old, somewhat curmudgeonly dwarf who lives in the outskirts of town. I've been here several decades. Often do hunting, logging, all sorts of things for people, for money or exchange. Just stay the hell out of my garden.
Curmudgeonly.
Yep. Old white hair, fairly large. Has a helmet in his garden for some reason. It's a very nice vase.
Yeah, in fact, I think perhaps you and Kronos are the two longest living members here. You may have known each other quite a while, unfortunately. Cassiopeia.
Okay. So, Cassiopeia is a 6 foot something tall centaur who kind of operates inside town and has a kind of converted working shop that had been something of a small stable on a house that she has converted into a table building shop. It's the only place big enough for her to actually move around. She came into town years ago and trained under the local carpenter, and then she left for years, and then recently came back. She is a lot stronger than she looks. A lot stronger.
Horsey.
Ah!
Okay.
And she sometimes forgets that she is. She forgets she is big.
I was hoping you were going to say she forgets she's a horse.
But big enough and extra legs. Okay. And finally, Corvus.
Corvus is a human.
No, Gifton's too tiny.
A 6'2" human. He wasn't born here. He moved here with his father, pre-teenager, and is taken up to the garrison to probably do some martial training or just to instill more discipline in his life. But he had taken up more of a medical prowess with the garrison's position.
Okay, and Gifton.
Gifton is quite a wee creature, member of her local community. She has lived a very sheltered life for the last 40 or so years. She has been living to the tenets of her society and kind of pushing against the grain a little bit. Her family used to have a much better standing in town. They used to have a lot more responsibility and a lot more say. After the incident 70 years ago, they have diminished in both size and standing with the other local brownies. She is the last child of the family, and she spends most of her time at the beck and call of the Drawlights, going and doing spying missions or just doing heavy labor and carrying things. She doesn't have an official position in the community yet because they don't know what to do with her. Her father still is a spy and runs the rooftops and things like that, looks out for incoming goods, and reports back to the Drawlights personally, but haven't decided whether or not they will send her in with the Weavers / miracle worker groups that go in and do kindness and blessings to houses, or if she can join the spies. She tends to wear green. She has long red hair that she keeps braided up so it doesn't go everywhere because it is like a total mess if she doesn't keep it braided. And she has the biggest blue eyes and she's covered in freckles.
Okay.
Out of character question. What's a Drowlight?
Draw light.
Drawlight. Okay.
It's a family name.
It's a family name. There's the
Okay.
the draw lights, the honeyfoots, and the gray steels.
Cool.
I like to bring up one thing.
Yes.
Not
Mhm.
about
I gave an
Is that
extensive
about gifting?
backstory. Thank you.
why
Yes.
are the two rogues literally the same story but opposite?
I don't
Because you
know.
nerds.
We
I
didn't. As far as I know, I didn't talk to him. I don't know if he
No.
somehow stole it.
You're nerds.
You're both nerds.
Because
Okay.
Eric came with his mother.
So, you are all from Tarnstead. Tarnstead is a small village, barely bigger than a hamlet, only distinguished by the fact it has a local guard garrison that guards stay in before rotating in and off to the nearby border walls. It tends to be very harsh weather, even in the summer seasons. It's somewhat chill. You're very near the southern snowy areas. We open in the final days of winter. Harsh storms and heavy snowfall have made things hard going in Townstead, more so than usual. But the citizens of Townstead prevail together, as always. As the temperature begins to rise with the approaching of spring, so do the spirits of the townsfolk. Things are looking up and you're starting to ponder the cheery days ahead when it's not so blisteringly cold. Corvus? It's early in the morning when you find yourself being woken by the heavy thump of your medical bag being dropped on your chest. Opening your eyes, you're met by the sight of the garrison commander, Dow Edmund, a human in his mid-50s. He looks down at you and in his typically gruff voice says, Sinclair's idiot boy has managed to put an arrow in his own foot. It's going to be another couple of weeks until we get the holy men through here to take care of the ailment. So, see to it, will you?
Right away. Will do.
Right. He gestures you off towards the door.
It gets cleaned up as best he can and looks in his medical bag to make sure all his supplies are present and accounted for.
Everything's there.
All right, and we'll head off.
As you walk through the garrison, there's the usual tired bustle of activity here. Guardsmen going about their duties with more sort of route, steadfast dedication, but it's very repetitive for them. They're very used to it, and it's nothing happens here. You get a few curt nods, but they're otherwise just sticking to themselves.
Yep.
You notice Sinclair's is a short distance away down the town streets, and as you head out, people are just starting to get ready for their morning. Various jobs, various work. Don't see the farmers around because they're on the outskirts of town, but you see the bakers starting to prep morning meals, the tavern starting to open up properly. And I assume you make your way?
Yep. Set on his task, he will proceed onward, just giving the polite pleasantries of morning greetings to anybody who passes by.
Okay.
Look, there he goes, that medic, strange but special.
As you walk along, you pass the tavern, you pass the converted stable that is now more of a carpentry. There you see a centaur starting to seemingly work on some barrels, loading them into a cart. Cassiopeia, you've been loading some barrels that you made this past week into a cart, giving them a final check over before you deliver them to the local brewer for filling. While the barrels themselves were fairly simple to make, you were asked to carve some designs into the lids of each, which took you more time than the rest of the construction itself.
Of course,
As usual,
it makes
your previous master in Gunderson, a greying dwarf who has dodged every attempt anyone in the town has made to learn his age or any detail of his life since he moved here 20 so years ago, has been criticizing every little detail of your work. And while you realized long ago that his nitpicking of details is his way of trying to get you to push yourself and improve, it remains rather vexing. You know, she ordered these for some fancy wine to export, right? You could have chosen some better wood. And I ain't too impressed with these bands that Smith made either. Give us a discount on the next lot, you hear?
Centaur
Of
died.
course, and of course, I'll make sure Miss Brewer lady send you better stuff.
He fixes you with a stare. Right.
She's
Good.
got her smile on.
Well, get to it. Need you back here. Got more work to do. And he walks off. It's not quite a huff, but he's never particularly happy.
And
And
in
you're
her
left-
standard mood as he's walking away, the nah work.
Right, and you're left to pull the cart, as seems to be your lot in life here.
Huck stuff in cart. Pull cart. Take stuff out of cart. Pull cart.
And do you
All right.
do you set
I'm
off, or do you
gonna-
busy yourself with something else?
I am going to get these into the cart, and then I am going to grab said cart, and I'm going to meander on over to the
The local brewers.
brewer.
Okay.
Dealing with the brewer.
You start heading off
Yeah.
towards the brewer.
Do I see the medical personnel walking by?
Give me a non-proficient perception check.
Non-proficient?
Roll a
Mhm.
d20.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Just a d20 and just
Just-
your stat bonus.
Oh,
All right. Okay. Yeah.
That's
you-
with no proficiency, so
Yep. You see. You do see the rather somewhat well dressed but dishevelled. He's been gotten up in a hurry. Local medical man walking through with his bag, heading off somewhere.
as I go walking by, hi, Mr. Doctor Man.
good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay. And elsewhere in town, Gifton, you've been spending the morning helping your grandmother with some minor household chores. She does not seem to really need the help so much as she keeps on top of things very well. But she's asked you
likes
just
my
for the
company.
chance to spend some time with you. Yeah, she likes
Yeah.
to talk with you.
Yeah, I like spending time with Grandma Joel. We have a good time together.
She's once again been telling you about your grandfather Ridder for what must be the 100th time. While the embellishments of the stories change from time to time, some deeds become more or less exaggerated. There's always a little core of truth to the stories that remains solid.
I like to think that when we're doing the story, like we both pick up like brooms or something like that, and we
Start
knock
to
it
reenact.
out. We reenact it, and then I fall back. Oh, like I was hit.
Yeah, but there's always an undeniable truth to the core of the stories, at least, even if the little flavour around them changes. Towards the end of one such story, however, she just sighs and starts to wipe her hands on a small bit of cloth, and then flicks it towards the doorway of your little shared home. And she's like, "Okay, dearie, you better be off. Your father says you should be helping the Grey store today. Something about some extra copper cast-offs that need moving."
Oh, okay, Grandma Joel. Are you gonna be okay here by yourself today?
Oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, you be safe now.
All right. I'm gonna give her a really big hug.
She returns it tightly, but you can tell it's not quite as tight as it used to be.
And then I'll grab my cloak and pull it tight and start heading out.
Okay. As you head from you live in a little farm that's a little big farmhouse that's on the outskirts of town, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
As you start to head in, you see a dwarf walking into town. You've seen him a few times. He comes and goes out of town, but he never seems to dwell within it.
Huh.
Are you making sure to keep out of sight?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Faldir, you were having a very peaceful morning, tending to your plants, up until a pained cry from the nearby tree line interrupted the crisp morning silence. The pained complaining and cursing was clearly from one of the younger townsfolk, a young lad, probably Simon. No, Simon moved away a few years ago. Or was that Peter? Oh, no, he's a grown man now. It's hard to keep track. Humans of the town all seem to grow as fast as roses do.
They all
Whoever
look
it
the
was.
same too.
Yeah, they just all seem to blur together. But whoever it was, we felt the need to check up on them. That's how you came to find yourself helping a young man hobble along to town, an arrow stuck clear through his foot. His father scolding him before running off to get some medical help. The young man sort of stammers as if he's a little nervous about you. A lot of the kids find you as a bit of a scary thing, as much as they harass you. Thank you, Mr. Forgehammer. I'm real sorry for the trouble. I didn't mean to cause no bother. I'll bring you some game when my foot's held up, I promise.
You should get thicker boots.
Thicker boots, sir?
Yes.
He looks down at these little leather books and goes, I don't think I'll be able to move in thicker boots.
Kids these days.
Thicker boots or softer arrows? You got a choice, kid.
Blunter arrows, yeah.
Um,
Rubber tipped arrows.
you get him close enough to his own home. And you figure you can sit him down on his doorstep and just. Do you want to wait with him, or your father goes to get the doctor, or are you going to go off yourself?
I will stand there with my arms crossed, looking at him impatiently, like I am being thoroughly inconvenienced.
Okay, well,
Because I am.
After some time of awkward silence, the young man, clearly a little intimidated by you, you see off in the distance across the town square, your town centaur pulling a cart, seemingly heading off somewhere with some barrels. And Argy, your head is thumping as you wake up. After sampling your latest batch last night, quite a bit more than necessary, the rest of the evening became a bit of a blur, as it frequently does for you. You apparently settled at your kitchen table and passed out there, as that's certainly where you are now. Sitting up, your face feels funny, and after pouring at your cheek clumsily, you pull away a piece of paper that was stuck to it. You must have decided to try and do some of your ledgers during the night, in your drunken haze, but all that's resulted in is this piece of ale-soaked paper with "Fuck you, George" scrawled angrily across it. As you're trying to recall which George you were apparently angry at, you hear a loud hammering at your door. Wait, are you continuing to hear that? It must have been what woke you up. It's getting more insistent.
Yeah.
You were expecting a delivery of wine barrels today. That's right.
Yeah. She'll kind of stumble up, kind of try and push the chair into the table, just knock it over instead and go, good enough. And go over to the door, open the, how's it going?
All right. Cassiopeia, you hear some sort of scraping of wood on wood, some clashing of objects being thumped about, and then you are met with your beloved town brewer. Oh no.
Did we lose?
Yes, because I've been coughing.
Ah.
Hi, Miss Drunker. I'm Miss Tavern Keeper. Your barrels are here.
Probably right the first time. You mind just putting them over in there? She got the gestures vaguely to the main part of the brewery.
Cassiopeia grabs them and kind of shimmies into the door. And the clap, what was initially just loud knocking is now clop, 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 clop.
Okay.
Over here?
Yeah.
That was good. Gonna hold their head.
As you're watching her move stuff, you frown a bit at the noise, but you also remember you have to actually make a delivery to the actual tavern today. You've got some casks of ale that they need, and that cart would be very handy to move them with.
Hey, Cass.
Hmm.
You mind if I get your help moving the delivery I have to do at the bar today?
I can help you, but Ind is being a little grumpier than normal.
He wants
So-
a discount again, doesn't he?
Yes, and I was hoping you might be able to give him a little something more strong.
I'll see
Kick
what I
his
got.
ass.
I'll see what I got. I got a couple that are that. Hey, do you want a cask of whoops?
What?
Well, I got about a week or two ago. I got really hammered and accidentally knocked a whole bunch of the extra ingredients into one of the casks, and I'm nicknaming it Whoops because it's okay. It just kicks the hell out of you.
I would say give that to End. He might enjoy it.
Okay.
All right. Well, with Cass's help, you can easily get the barrels of ale situated onto the cart, and together you make your way over to the tavern. Carrick, it's yet another morning in the tavern, typical as always. After giving the bar a quick wash down and setting chairs down from various tables, it's not long before people started to stream in. Some simply coming in from a breakfast before work, mostly men with no families to prepare morning meals. A couple of travellers through Tarnstead coming down from rented rooms, and a not uncommon sight of a few young women, mostly farmers' daughters, settling in at a corner table, ordering light wine and giggling amongst themselves as they watch you work. You suspect that most of them likely have chores they should be off doing themselves, but you've had a few angry fathers reproach you for tempting their daughters, despite you not actually doing anything yet. But that's all it's been so far. And as you set down a plate of ordered food at a table, you hear the sound of hoofbeats and cartwheels, and you see the familiar sight of your provider and the local centaur through the tavern windows. You are expecting a delivery today.
I'm going to head on out and check and see if they're bringing the delivery.
Hey, four legs!
Hey, Car. How's it going?
Same as always. Is that our delivery?
Yep.
Okay. How
go
many
and
we
help
got
them.
today?
Whatever was on the sheet, I don't remember. I woke up about 20 minutes ago.
There's about 6 barrels of ale there.
Okay.
Let's look over, kind of count it, stop it halfway through, recount it, go 6.
That's good, I think. Let's get them in the back. And I'm going to help them load them through the back way because we try not to bring stuff through the front.
Are you going to help them, Cass?
Well, I was asked to help, so yes.
Okay. As you take the casks around back and head on in, start putting them in place, RG greeted by the actual tavern owner, a cheery middle-aged woman. She asks how you're doing and gives you your coin for the delivery. Cass, she, as you often get, she starts asking if you wouldn't mind helping move some things around. Not today, but she has some old furniture she wants to get rid of, and it's also heavy.
Okay. Normal rates, Miss Tavern Keeper.
Grand. I'll see you tomorrow then. Mid-afternoon?
Late afternoon. I have several orders that have to be finished.
All right then. Well, late afternoon. Why don't you come in for a meal as well? I'll treat you.
Ears go straight up. Okay.
Food.
What about you, RG? You need something to eat? Have you been eating right? She says with concern.
Genuine concern.
Think so? I can't really remember.
Okay, well, Carrick, RG's going to sit down for some breakfast. She says, not actually asking. He's placing a hand on your shoulder and sort of guiding you towards the front.
I love that.
Okay. I will go get his usual. Or her, right. Her. That's
her
right.
usual.
Female. Her usual.
And you are rather forcefully sat down at a table and given a glass of well water. No ale for you in here.
The only place you can't get ale.
And
It's hard to stop the drunk when they're the one who makes it.
Yeah.
if I see you sneaking a wineskin out, I'm going to be very cross. Do you hear? You drink that?
Kind of pats your buck and goes, I think I left it at home.
Oh, that's good. What about you, Cassie? Do you want to join us for breakfast?
She's died from coughing.
Hey, horse butt!
Sorry. I keep muting to cough and I forget I'm muted.
Oh, the best part about that is I just got Allie recorded saying, "Hey, horse butt." I'm making a soundbite of this.
Perfect.
I mean, if it fits.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. I was only supposed to deliver the barrels, and I've kind of gotten hijacked into other hijinks so far today. So
Wait there a second, and she heads back into the back kitchen and comes out with it's a very simple buttered roll, but it's hot, it's warm, and she pushes it into your hands. Make sure you eat this.
yes, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. Gotta go.
Right. And you head out, and RG.
And there's the happy little tap 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 as she leaves, and she's doing the happy horse hooves.
I will
and
say
you will
notably,
likely
though,
get a request to buff out the marks on the wooden flooring at a later date.
I will say notably, RG would have also been responsible enough to at least give her also the cask of whoops at the same time.
I imagine you left
got
that in the cart for them to take.
Yeah.
Okay. So Carrick serves you breakfast, then Carrick, you're back to your usual menial chores. Let's see, Faldir. It's not too long until you see the local town doctor coming along. Corvus, you can see the bit of a hermit dwarf. He's well known around town, but he doesn't interact much. Standing outside Sinclair's home, and there's a Sinclair's son there, clutching his foot, a arrow sticking clear through it.
Oh.
Not too much blood running. Seems to just be straight in, straight through.
If you have to lop it off, I've got my wood cutting axe with me.
Lop it off.
I don't think that lopping it off is going to be necessary, Herr Forgehammer. This is quite simple. Give me a moment. Maybe give something for him to bite down on if you have anything. And
Handle of axe.
Corvus will open his bag, pull on his gloves, and lay out what are just really short scalpels and kind of look at the wound. It's like, well,
His eyes go wide at the side of scalpels. It's kind of hard to see any wound right now, simply because he has his boot on. And
yes, we are going to need to cut off your boot so I can get to the wound itself.
not my boot. I don't only have this pair.
Well, I could always just take off the head and pull out the shaft.
He looks
The
briefly confused.
arrow, boy.
Oh,
Yes,
oh,
the arrow.
Okay.
Not the other one. Right. Apologies. And he says apologies by whipping the scalpel through the air.
He leans back away from you.
Right. Put this away. Mm-hmm. All right. Bite down on that. I'm gonna break off the head, and then I'm gonna pull out the shaft. And then
okay.
we're going to have to put pressure on it. Then we'll probably have to take off the boot and then bandage you up, put a little poultice on, and you should be good to go at that point.
Okay, Mr. Adelas.
Okay. And without any hesitation, he just breaks the arrow tip and pulls the shaft out.
Okay.
Without any warning to him.
He yelps loudly and reaches back down to clutch at his boot.
Yep.
And he gives you a sort of pained look. It's like, okay, right, is that it? We done?
Not quite. Let's get that boot off.
Mr. Forgehammer's my good boot.
You could probably just pull it off now.
Yes, we can pull the boot off now. So, can you let go of the boot?
All right. And he releases his boot and Leans back again.
He'll pull off the boot. Is he wearing socks?
Yes, a very blood-soaked woolen sock.
Right. Pulls that off. Leans in. Inspects the wound a bit. Is
It looks very simple. It looks like it's missed anything bad. It's gone between bone. And
Well,
should be easy enough to
you've-
patch up.
You've been quite lucky today. This won't take a moment.
Okay,
Opens up the
and-
medical kit, wraps him up, or cleans it, puts a poultice on, wraps it up, and puts the.
Sorry, Becky. All right,
That's
could you
it's fine.
give
but I
me a
understand.
medicine check, please.
All right.
At least we're not discussing like how the wound looks and the muscle.
That'd be fine. I don't ever affect by that for some reason.
Okay, well, you get it all sorted very nice and cleanly.
Wunderbar.
So can I go back to hunting or?
I wouldn't advise it at this moment in time. Couple days of rest and maybe light mobility.
Oh, my part's gonna
And-
kill me. Okay,
Well, you shouldn't have shot yourself in the foot.
I didn't mean to.
It's how did you precisely pull back your arrow and release it into your foot?
I was aiming at a deer, and it kind of spooked me a bit, and I stepped backwards, and I fell back, and my arrow went into the air, and then it came back down.
You were spooked by a deer.
It moved.
Well, that is
Well, they do that.
Quite-
Faldir,
quite
you've
the
not seen him out
coincidence.
hunting before. You think this may be the first time his father's actually taken him out.
Kids these days.
In fact, it doesn't feel like long to you since he was one of the young children tramping through your garden, throwing mud at your house.
I can come up with a different kid again.
But the mud was dead character.
Is this your first time hunting, boy?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Kovas will begin have almost as second nature, just begin cleaning off everything that he touched or that his gloves had touched with different sort of cloths and ointments that he has tucked away in his
he
medical
breaks out
bag.
like 6 different soaps with, well, this is the cursory
Yeah.
soap
He
for the
just
first layer of
starts-
blood.
He just starts habitually cleaning everything.
Just cleaning with the bone sock. It's fine.
Can I have my boot back, Mr. Adalas?
Yes. How good at you are leatherworking? Because there's now a hole, as you can imagine. He
not-
holds it
not
up
very-
and looks at him through it.
Oh no. And he's just going to take the boot and he's going to sort of hobble up onto his one foot, sadly.
There you go. Yep.
We might have to get him a cane.
Okay.
For the moment, yeah. And maybe a
Oh.
day or two, just to help you walk.
I'll see what we got indoors. Thank you, Mr. Forgemmer, Mr. Adalas. And he very awkwardly tries to bow, loses his balance a bit, the arms
Oh,
sort of flare
yeah.
out and wobble
There you go.
Face
Before-
floor.
before he heads in.
Well, Herr Thorhammer, thank you for getting this boy as quickly as you can to me. It would have been a bit nastier if it went any further.
Would have taught him a good lesson, though.
Well, that's the benefits of sort of my means of medicine.
Yes, coddling the children, I understand.
Well, no, it's more he now has a hole in his foot.
Should have taken it off. Could have made him a better one.
I was half expecting the dwarf to go just rub dirt in it.
I'm not that barbaric.
Just gonna shrug and walk away.
Have a good day.
Right, Gifton. As you're making your way through town, it's a very slow journey for you because the town's very big and you want to stay hidden.
Yep.
You see most of that going on. You pause and behold the sight of advanced medical treatment happening.
It made me a
And-
little queasy.
A little queasy.
That's
You may have
a
had to
lot
look
of
away a
blood.
couple of times.
So much blood.
But the dwarf, at the very least, is a familiar sight. His own home is actually outside of town and quite near some of the further out brownie
Everyone loves
houses.
his garden. It's really sad
They
when the kids
do
do
love his garden.
it. It's so nice. We like to go there and help the plants sometimes.
Yeah, in fact, he's not a particularly good gardener.
No,
The
he's
reason his
very
plants have
bad.
flourished so much is because you have helped out yourself a few times and quite a few brownies.
He
As you
cares
head through
about
town-
it though, even though he's bad.
Yeah. As you head through town, you see a few of your fellow kind, spies, scouts, just keeping an eye out.
Mhm.
You see a small team actually carrying a large piece of bread and a saucer of milk away from one home. And you make your way over to the smithy in town, where the Graystals have their own little
This
hold
is
up.
like the shit job you get because there's like sparks flying everywhere. It's just waves of heat, ash is going all over the place. Everyone hates this job.
Yeah, and as you get in there, it is overbearingly hot.
Mhm.
The Graystals themselves seem to be somewhat used to it, but no one can ignore it.
Mhm.
For yourself, though, it's overbearing, and you really don't want to be here.
No, I don't.
But as you head in, you see a bunch of brownies running around in their little hovel. There's a hole in the wall leads into the sort of inner workings, and
It's a slightly
Yes,
smaller
it's-
smithy.
yeah, it is in fact a downscale smithy. It's a bit cruder, but it functions just fine.
Mhm.
Clearly, they've already got their own little forge heating up. Must have been a few coals and embers from the actual forge that they've taken. And you see one of Bakir's sons coming over to you. He's around your age, and he always seems to want to greet you whenever you come by.
I'll
he's
give him a
gonna-
shy little wave.
Oh, hi, Gifton.
I'm supposed to help out over here today? That's where I got assigned.
Dad said you'd be around. So the Smith here, he was working on some copper implements, and there's a bunch of scrap metal left over. And
We could do
it's
so much with that. We could make some really nice. Well, I mean, we could all sorts of things you guys could make.
yeah. I mean, we need some new little pots, some little bits and pieces. Dad's thinking about keeping some aside for He makes a sort of jabbing motion.
Oh yes, cutlery for the kitchen, and I wink.
Yeah, cutlery. And he gives you a sort of tired, worried smile.
Yeah. And I go, speaking, I saw the most interesting thing on the way here. You know that the old white dwarf man that lives outside town, Forthammer?
Oh, yeah.
He was helping one of the little kids back into town, and he had an arrow all the way through his foot.
An arrow?
Yeah, I don't know how he shot himself in the foot.
Wait, he shot himself?
Yeah, the kid shot himself in the foot. I guess he fell over because he was scared of a deer. Isn't that just the cutest thing?
Who would be scared of a deer?
I don't know.
Oh.
Anyway, but they had that
call
creepy
you.
doctor man do this thing, and it was messy. Oh, that poor child. I feel so bad for him. I'm hoping they'll do something nice for the kid to make him feel better. His boots are ruined.
He taps his chin a bit and goes, which house was it?
Which kid was it?
Sinclair.
The Sinclair boy. His boots are completely shot through.
Well, they always leave a little bit out for us. They're an old family.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I know you know more people than I do. Maybe you could say a good word for him.
He scratches
At
his
the
head
very
and goes,
least, everyone can have a good laugh at the story.
It'd be a good story to tell. Maybe you should tell your father, though.
Yeah, when I see him. Anyway, we should probably get to work. Oh, I should get to work. It's really good to see you, though.
Yeah, it's really nice. He points out. There's a few of the Honeyfoots already starting to move stuff. If you want to go help them.
Yeah, okay. I'll give a shy little wave and back off and go head in that direction.
He waves it back in return and watches you leave. As you go into the smithy itself, not just wall, the heat builds. It's horrible, and you can see quite a few honeyfoots running around beneath tabling and such, making it would probably be a little quicker to move the metal if they weren't having to make a full circuit of the room to stay out of sight.
Because they're basically having to catch it when it rolls under something and gets out of sight, and then they dive and go get it. So, yeah. Well, she goes and starts helping with that.
Okay. They have very basic little carts that they're using,
like little
made up
wheelbarrows
of
almost that kind of like
little wheelbarrows made from sewing needle reels and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're loading things up with a heave ho, and you get set off with a barrel back and a cart back and forth.
Mm-hmm. It's hot, heavy, horrible work, right?
Yeah. For a brief moment, you see one brownie pick something up and yelp and drop it immediately, as it was still a bit too hot. But it unfortunately takes up a great part of your day. It's hard work. It's manual labor. It's hot. It's tiring.
The one nice thing is we don't have to deal with the smoke as much.
No, the smoke thankfully goes up high, and you are very down low.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
At one point, though, every now and then you
I get
hear a
black
heavy
and sooty
thump.
through this, right?
Oh, you're very black and sooty.
Yeah.
And every now and then you hear the thump, thump, thump of heavy boots as the smith himself walks to and from the room, heating stuff in the forge, heading out, banging on an anvil. And when he comes back in towards the end of the day, he dulls the flame a bit, and he looks around the room, and he notices it's a bit cleaner than it should be. But he's been here a while, and all that happens is, a little later on, he does set down some small offerings, which are quickly collected by the Honeyfoots.
I mean, on the one hand, he doesn't have to clean it up.
Yes. And you are then told that you are free to go home and maybe clean yourself up a bit.
Yeah, kind of. I will try and wave at Bakar as I go by.
Yeah. You see Bakar directing other brownies with what to do with the medal, and he gives you a curt little nod as you go by.
Mm-hmm.
She emerging out like a train engineer.
Yeah, I'm just like covered. I actually think that's part of the thing that helps is even if you spot them, they're all covered in soot right now. So just like just like a little black shape runs across the floor, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Nice.
Yep. Brownies that work in the smith, they do tend to be able to scarper about in the open a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm kind of just going. I'm wearing my suit on the way home today.
So, okay, you are dismissed. Do you want to head straight home, or are you going elsewhere?
I'm supposed to go straight home.
You are supposed to go straight home.
I don't want to go straight home though.
It's towards the end of the day, and there is a lot of light and a lot of noise from the tavern.
All right.
But everywhere else is starting to wind down and close up.
I'm gonna go sneak in the tavern for just a spell because I just want to watch people, and I like people watching.
Okay.
It's more fun than just doing chores. So.
Cassiopeia, you took your cart back early in the day, and you delivered your barrel of whoops to Ind, who didn't say thank you, but he gave you a sort of and a little nod, which is as close to a thanks as you get.
He's grumpy.
He then gestures and he's like, Thompsons need a new crib. They asked us. Delicate work. You should do it. The crib, they're expecting.
Okay.
Figured that'll keep you busy for a bit.
But what about the other orders?
He gives you a very grumpy look and goes, "You think I can't do the other orders?"
No, I never said that.
It
But
sounds
you
like
had
you're implying
assigned-
it, lass.
No, but you assigned me to them. If you don't want me to do them, I won't.
Ah! And he keeps throwing his arms up in the air repeatedly. He's like, "All right, but you gotta get it all done. You think you can add the crib on with the rest of your work?"
When do they need the crib?
Crib, you got a couple of weeks.
I can get it started on it tomorrow night once I have the other orders finished.
He peers at you as if not entirely confident in that, but he just nods and goes, "All right then. Well, can you lock up for the day?
Yeah.
I gotta go home." Get your stuff done. And he tosses a bundle of keys, and it's not actually like him to just leave the shop to you.
Okay, and you have good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Good night. Yeah. See you in the morning. And he walks out far earlier than he normally leaves.
Caspia holds up. She holds up the key ring, jingles it a little bit.
There's keys to most things in the shop here, including his own little boxes, chests, and of course the main door.
And she's just shaking, like so much freedom. Shake,
So
shake,
much
shake.
Power.
Shake the keys.
24 hours later, they come back into the shop. You're still shaking the keys, lost in your pure lust.
Actually, give me history or insight, whichever you'd please.
Proficiency or non?
You can have your proficiency on this, yes.
Then insight.
Oh,
Wow, okay. So as you're jingling the keys, reveling in your freedom, it strikes you that little twitch on his face, and there's an ever so slight drift in his tone, and then it hits you. You've heard that before, once a year, each year, and he tends to leave earlier then as well, seemingly the same day every year.
It's his birthday. Get him a cake.
My God. He's
But
old.
you are left in the shop
Isn't it?
to work on orders, which you can do through until the evening, where, by all reason, you should probably stop. You're starting to get tired. It's starting to get
Sloppy.
late.
I want to cut off your hand.
I will work until I just am like, okay, not good now.
Yeah.
Lock.
As you look at the misaligned drawing that you really shouldn't have messed up, you decide, okay, time to stop and resume in the morrow, and you can leave. You can lock up and go about as you please.
Locking everything up. Double checking. Locking everything up. Happily trotting along, jingling keys.
You see people closing up their own stores. Baker is getting to try and get rid of some of their very final wares so it doesn't go to waste. People are starting to head into the tavern or just heading home to their families.
I am going to head home.
Okay.
What passes for home?
You head towards your home. It's a small little building, one of the cheapest you could find in town as you're trying to save coin. It's a little awkward to get into with your frame as the door is small, slightly aslant, and it offends your carpenter senses. Gets stuck occasionally, and no matter how many times you have taken to sanding it to try and get it to fit properly, it always just seems to swell in the damp and jam up again. Yet another little irritating part of your life.
I get in, I turn around, I look at the door. One of these days, I am going to replace you, and then I'm going to burn you, and I'm going to giggle madly.
Okay. RG, you were free to go home after you had your meal. How did you spend your day?
Probably ate and then just kind of wandered off.
Wandered
Am I
off?
right in guessing that the exact same day he goes home early for is the same day I'd think of for myself? Or is it something else?
It is. It's not the same day. No.
Okay. Was it
However,
just-
you have been here a long time. You've been here the 20 years and over that he has been here. Because he moved into this town about 20 years ago. If you'd like, you can do a history check.
Okay.
As you
Give me a
see,
few seconds.
you do see him, and you're wandering, heading off home far earlier than usual.
It's got a -1 intelligence. This is going to be good. Yep.
Yeah, he does this every so often.
There's a haze.
Yeah, there's a bit of a haze. So you wander around town, you busy yourself. You probably should be working on those, getting those wine barrels sorted, but you know it can always wait. Everything can always wait. And honestly, it's no fun wandering around sober. A glass of water just really didn't do it for you.
Mm-hmm. She reaches into her little stash on her waist and pulls out a flask.
Okay. And the townsfolk are greeted with the familiar sight throughout the day of you wandering around town, drinking, chatting merrily with people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always a little bit of awkwardness as you talk to people because they don't like to see you like this, but everyone's a bit too polite to say anything.
Mhm.
And it's a familiar sight by now.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's used to it as long as they can remember it's been this way.
But towards the end of the day, people start to head off and close up, and you are left in the town square, watching people either stream home or stream into the tavern.
She kind of looks one way, looks the other, takes another swig, and after a quick stumble goes, maybe, and just starts to stumble her way home.
Okay, you head on home. Faldia, you trudged off back towards your own home out in the edge of the woods. How would you like to have spent your day?
Oh, I would have checked on my garden. Doesn't look like the kids got into it today, I think.
Actually, when you do get home, there is a deer munching on some of your plants.
Gonna go find an axe.
Okay, you head into your house and you pull out your old battle axe quite easily. Find that.
I like to think the engraving on your battle axe is wife.
So he's also going to axe the deer.
Going
Name
to
is diplomacy.
wander out, holding the axe, look at the deer.
The deer looks up at you. Its muzzle moving as it chews.
Get out of my garden.
It stares for a brief moment before, in typical deerish fashion, but a little delayed as you are very familiar sight here, it turns and starts to sprint off into the woods. And you are once again left alone.
Plant the axe back in the ground in front of me. Just
It
sit
stays
down in a
put.
chair.
Right, well, you get to spend a very relaxing day. No one really comes to bother you. People leave you alone. And you just get to appreciate the sounds of birds and the rustle of wind through trees. And it's cold.
Almost like I don't live near a village at all. Perfect.
Yes, it would be even more perfect if there weren't those distant yells and sound of people working, but it's close enough. Until the light starts to dim. It being towards the closing winter, it's still getting dark early, and the temperature does start to drop. And you can hear those sounds of industry forges, the yelling of merchants quieting down. Do you just spend the rest of your evening relaxing, or are you going to go do something else?
I'm gonna have to cut some wood, prepare a fire.
Okay, well,
Just gonna do chores.
you busy yourself with your household chores, just preparing your fire for the night, and that's how you spend your evening. We want Corvus. Corvus, when you get back to the garrison after treating the Sinclair child, you are greeted curtly once more by the various guards heading in and out, and they otherwise don't really bother you. Despite signing up with the garrison to be their medic, you've always been a little bit on the outside of them. You're not a soldier in their eyes. Of course, that all changes when one of them gets hurt, but it's not too often, frankly. There's some minor accidents in training, but no real injuries to say. It actually makes your work a little unfulfilling.
He will sort of wait around the garrison for a while before deciding, okay, I can probably move on with the rest of my day and head into town.
Yep. No one really tries to stop you, although one of the guards near the entrance goes, "Yeah, where are you going?"
Check with my father and make sure he's eating well. And
You'll be at your father's then, in case the captain needs you.
Yes. First to the tavern, then to my father's. Yes.
All right then. Don't you get too drunk. You're always on duty.
Yeah. And he will walk off and proceed to the tavern. But as he does, he sort of maybe lingers a little further, checking in to some of the townsfolk who may have different illnesses, sickness that he's been taking care of, sort of on the down low.
Yep, you're able to check in with a few people. Mrs. Elderbury, she's recovering from a fever, and you've been helping with that, and she seems to be on the up and up. You know that the Thompsons are expecting a child, and you've just been advising and such, but they're basically waiting for a proper healer, a holy man to come through. And
he sort of like, well, it is good that someone of more divine right can assist, but I am always here if you need. You don't have to wait, and I never ask for much.
They nod politely in turn, but you can tell that, well, they're hearing your words. They're not confident in them.
Right. And he would just make sure they're good and set, and then go on to his business.
Yep. You make your rounds discreetly, and as you head towards the tavern, you do actually pass by your own home. More your father's home. You spend so much time at the garrison, sleeping there. Yeah. Do you want to stop in there, or are you heading straight to the tavern?
He's actually going to the tavern to get food for his father.
Okay, so you head to the tavern, and by the time you get there, it's midday. People are having lunch. There's a bit of a bustle about. You can see Carrick rushing about, delivering food, delivering drink, being harassed seemingly by various young ladies. Although he does not seem to discourage it.
Yes.
And, he gives you a curt nod.
Afternoon. Just the usual there, Carrick, for my father.
Okay, on the way.
Take your time.
He's gonna on his swing to the kitchen next time. Actually, he's gonna shout the order, and then he'll just swing
he used
back.
to loud demands and ordering back and forth. You hear a sort of, "All right, on it, darling," and continued hustle and bustle to the kitchen.
He's gonna swing by the kitchen since he's has a pretty good idea of how long it takes, and
Eventually, it comes out on a plate. It's covered with cloth, as she knows it's taken out. She expects the plate to be returned, and they always are. But it is a meal prepared for Corvus's father.
swim by, hand it off. How's your father doing?
Better. He has his days, but it seems to be going smoothly. He keeps his nose in the books, so he doesn't get out much. Doesn't get good air or sun. But the weather hasn't been good either. The cold gets to him.
It's been a cold year.
Indeed.
Carrick and Corvus, you both hear, despite it being aimed at Carrick, the voice of the tavern owner saying, Carrick, darling, remind him he's got to pay up at the end of the week.
Of course.
Corvus will kind of hang his head down and is like, yes, I'm aware. Once I get my pay from the garrison, you will get yours.
He says he'll pay. Once he gets the
I
money,
know he
a little
will.
bit.
Just a little reminder.
He will thank Carrick.
I like to think that this is getting yelled across the whole tavern, so
It
everybody's
is.
kind of
She's
turning
in
and
the back of the
looking and
kitchen.
looking back and
They're out
forth.
front. Yep.
He would kind of lean to the side, maybe start to say something, then just like, never mind.
There's a few wry grins and some laughter from elsewhere in the tavern, but it's all friendly, you know.
Yeah. It's like, well, thank you, Carrick. I'll see you around.
Yes.
Just stop so much with the ladies, though. I mean, come on.
Do anything.
Just.
And even as you say that, you hear from the corner of the tavern a young woman's voice saying, Carrick, darling, another glass of wine?
I like to think Carrick does this like unconscious flourish where he like flicks his hair just slightly and it like glistens in that perfect slow-mo. Like little sparkles around him as he turns. Immediately, my dear.
An IRL anime.
Corvus's hand goes to his face. It's like,
He does not shulk, no matter what you think.
Just like these anime.
This is the point. Just hone it down a bit.
It's my job.
You don't have to be so
nice,
flamboyant.
Knew about it.
Attractive.
It's part of the job.
It has to be said, most of the townsfolk would have noticed there was a sizable rise in lady clientele in the tavern when Carrick started working there. Profits did rise.
He's gonna bow a little bit and rush off to grab the lady her glass of wine.
And Corvus will head off to his home to ensure that his father is actually eating a decent meal on occasion.
Well, when you get home, your father is sitting in a chair, a fire going, and he is, of course, reading a book. There's a small pile on his little chairside table of books that he's already read, or perhaps he's about to read. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason or organisation. But when you enter, he glances up from his book and nods diligently at you.
Lunch,
Sort of
Father?
stern respect. Ah, yes, good. He sort of gestures at where all the books are piled up, as if expecting you to put it down.
Uh, can you at least maybe eat with me at the table? I know you've liked your reading, but sometimes it is just good to socialize.
I'm just finishing off this passage. One moment.
Of course. Well, I'll hang around here for a while, and then I'll probably have to head back. So if you need anything, let me know.
He nods distractedly, and he continues reading. That one passage seems to be very long, or perhaps he's just forgotten and he's continuing on.
Yeah.
Time passes. Do you remind him? Do you nudge him?
Yeah, I will come back down, look at the platter of food, and has it been touched?
The cloth is still on it. He has not touched it.
Father?
Oh, yes. Hello, son. When did you get in?
About 3 hours ago.
How was your day? And he keeps glancing between you and the book.
It was good. The St. Clair's boy got an arrow in his foot, shot himself. Stupidly.
He nods as if taking that in, but
it's not going
10
through,
seconds.
yeah.
He actually does glance up and goes, "An arrow in his own foot?"
Yes, an arrow in his own foot. Scared by a deer.
Ah. And he glances back down.
Do try to eat something, though, today.
Of course. Would you bring me something?
He will stand up, walk over to him, pull the rag off the plate. Says, "It's there if you want it."
Thank you, boy. He seems hesitant, but he does grab a little bookmark, put it in his book, and takes the plate onto his own lap. It's cold.
Yes, I brought it to you earlier in the day.
Oh, you should have mentioned.
It's a cold meal. It's better cold.
Well, these folk are very strange, and he does start to eat.
It's like, well, you should tell me about your readings of late at some point, like we did before when I was younger.
Oh, yes. You should read more, lad. Get an education.
I have many of your same books. They've always been quite enjoyable. But I do like to hear your take on some of them as well.
He nods and seems to perk up a little, and he sets his place aside, even though he's barely started on it, and picks up a book from the sort of middle of the pile. He goes, tomorrow we will read this together, yes?
That sounds very lovely. I will make sure my work is done, and we can have a day.
Marvelous. And you've heard this before.
Yeah. Well,
and that, in fact, you may have even heard it yesterday.
Yeah. He kind of looks at some of the book titles. Are they all very familiar to him?
They are an assortment of books. There are some that are actually inspections on magic. There's books on religion. There is actually a medical book in there, and there's a couple of fairy tales. But they're the same books he has read over and over again for the past year or so.
Yeah. Well, I will be by later in the evening. But do remember, and he kind of leans in. Do remember to eat now.
Of course. And he sort of pats your forearm a bit as you lean in, and then resumes reading one of his books.
Mm-hmm. You make sure the fire's good for him, and then kind of look around the house just briefly, and then go back to the garrison for night call.
Yeah. The house is dusty. Not in a incredibly dirty way, just nothing's moved much.
Nothing's moved.
Yeah. And you make your way back to the garrison. You can see a couple of guards that are just getting off duty, sort of chatting happily with each other as they head off to the tavern themselves. And one of the guards at the garrison door greets you curtly, even opens it for you.
Thanks.
Welcome. And you head in for the roll call. Captain greets you, and nothing, no work tonight. No accidents, no invasions.
Accidents are the worst of our problems.
Yeah. I mean, Smith's got a bit of a cold. Can you do anything about that?
I will give him a good tea in the morning.
Tea. He seems amused by this. Yeah. I'm sure that tea will cure it.
He starts to probably start explaining, but then stops. It's like, it would help. Ease the symptoms, at least.
Right, you are then. Well, you go make him his nice tea, and you can have the rest of the night off.
Wonderful. And he'll start about just doing random things for the garrison then.
Okay, so that's how you spend your evening?
Yep.
Okay. We return to Carrick. Carrick, your day is always busy. You get some brief lulls in the day, but there's always someone coming in. Someone off on a break, someone wanting a meal, someone wanting a drink. So your day is spent being hurried about, especially with some interested ladies who, well, they come and go. There's always one trying to talk to you and giving you a nice little stare, batting their eyelashes. And a couple of times, the tavern owner, she comes out and she whips you with the tablecloth. Like, all right, back to work, boy.
Of course.
And it's not long until the evening rush starts to happen. People coming in, a few familiar faces, and up in the rafters, silently watching, is Gifton. You can see people mulling about. Wonderful smells of cooking meats, baked breads.
They always make the
mead.
best smelling food here.
Yeah. And you can see a few bottles being pulled out of the bar. Looks like they've got honey mead in.
Oh wow! My dad loves honey mead. I've got my my ponytail to one side, and I'm kind of like unconsciously threading my fingers through it as I watch everything. It's like I'm paying special attention to the very attractive young ladies and like eyeing up the fashion that they're wearing.
Yeah, you see that they seem to be wearing their hair in a new style. They seem to be putting it up in a sort of bun behind their head now.
Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of like mock playing, trying to do my hair up like that, and kind of doing that because the brownie society has a tendency to stagnate, and they usually get everything from watching the mortals. So she's very interested in what their styles are.
Give me a perception check.
I'm assuming without any of my bonuses, right?
Nope, you get your bonuses.
Okay, because I don't have a bonus in perception.
Yay!
I tried to hide my lack of perception.
I didn't want you to know that I was not perceptive in the least, but I'm not. Okay.
What do your elf eyes see?
Normal. Not
No,
much.
fine.
Not an
I am
elf.
focused.
All right. Well, you see a young lady hanging off of the tavern swain's arm as he goes about his business. He's trying to carry a tray of drinks, even as she's sort of coming along with him,
Uh-huh.
and she keeps leaning in and talking to him. But you don't notice anything else other than that.
Unfortunately, I don't, so I don't notice that she picks his pocket. Or he picks hers. One of the two.
A little bit of both. Nobody's
an
lost.
exact change of coin happens.
It's more likely.
It's a
They
little
just
bit of
swap
give
coin
and
purses,
take.
basically.
Mhm.
Basically,
I could have sworn I grabbed something. What's going on?
Oh, I grabbed something, all right.
But as you're watching the hustle and bustle up in the rafters, someone thumps down beside you.
And briefly startled. Who is it?
It's your father.
Oh, hi, Dad! Hi! I was just looking for you.
Looking for me, huh?
Yeah.
I've been watching you the past 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the Sinclair boy?
Yes, the arrow for the foot.
Yeah.
Everyone's a buzz about it.
Yeah, I was telling everybody at the forge because I saw it on the way here. Well, on the way to the
Kirk
forge,
has
but
no
we did the
idea
thing where
about
we
it yet.
got all the. So, look at all the soot I have on me. I'm going to touch my father's face.
He gives you a tired but a caring look.
Just tried to kill the swain.
Face touching.
That's
And
face touching.
he actually reaches his hand up and actually starts to smudge some away from your cheeks. As if you really should have went home and cleaned up.
Well, I didn't know if I'd see you if I waited at home. I know you're always over here.
He smiles sadly and actually been about town. There's a lot of hustle and bustle going on for some reason.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty busy day. Do you think I
Yeah.
look good with my hair up like this, Dad? She kind of puts her hair up.
He glances at your soot-covered hair, and he smiles fondly. You're beautiful either way, but I think you look nice with your hair down.
Mm.
He doesn't understand fashion.
He doesn't understand fashion. Okay. So,
Yes, we've got a small gathering over at the old dwarf's house at Ind.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's the anniversary of his son's death again.
Oh.
Are
we-
we
D-
tried to clear up nicely and leave a few mementos out.
Yeah. Should I go over that way? I don't know.
He shakes his head before he stands up and he offers his hand up
He helped
out to
that
get you up.
Sinclair boy earlier. When he had the arrow through his foot, he carried him all the way to town.
Oh no, not that dwarf. The carpenter one.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. I always forget we have two dwarves. One of them's really surly, and then the other one's a woodcutter.
he chuckles a bit and he pulls you up onto your feet and goes, what I would like you to do after you have cleaned up is why don't you take some stuff over to the Sinclair's house and get that boy's boot patched up.
Okay, Dad. And I act like I'm gonna hug him, and then I go, I didn't do it. 'Cause I didn't get him all the suit.
He rolls his eyes a bit and then actually just pulls you into a hug anyway.
Oh, big puff of soot goes.
Someone's food below them is now showered.
You
in
hear a bit of a
soot.
cough.
Yeah.
And he sort of glances past his shoulder over towards the bar down below. He goes, "You go get his boot patched up, and I'll bring some meat home. Yes."
Okay. I'll tell Grandma you're coming. Is Mom gonna be around tonight?
Hopefully, he
Or do
says.
they have her on detail again?
He smiles sadly and goes, "Detail, but you never know.
You know, the other families get nights off.
So the other families aren't as stretched as we are, darling."
Okay. Well, I'll go home and clean up, and I'll I'll be there. I'll head off to Sinclair's after. Okay.
Okay, I'll try to be home soon.
Hey, Dad. And they'll slink off.
Yeah. All right. The evening continues on a bit. You start to make your way across town. Carrick, you get a bit of a break. You're told to go out, cool off a bit, take a drink with you, just to have a little bit to eat.
He's gonna grab a light dinner and grab a ale and go sit on the little back way of the inn tavern.
And as you do, those that are making their way to the tavern, and those that are outside, and Clifton, can you all roll me a perception check?
I don't
With
want
or
to.
without bonuses.
With bonuses.
This is evening.
This is
Yep,
night.
this is late at night.
I
Okay.
am disadvantaged, I
Not-
believe, because it is probably dark.
It is dark.
So.
However,
Unless there, are
the
there
thing you're
lights?
noticing, the thing you're trying to notice, and there are lights around, is bright, so no disadvantage.
I am not good.
Consistent.
Wow, good thing you didn't have disadvantage there.
Oh, also, I would like to remind you, because you all handed in your homework, you all have an inspiration.
Oh.
I'm not
What is
using
our
it.
inspiration rule, Sally?
Inspiration is a reroll for us.
Okay.
I don't
actually,
know if
I'm
I
going
want
to
to
make it
use
either.
it this early.
You can either use it as a reroll, or you can give yourselves a plus 10 to a roll.
Ooh.
But only if the roll is a failure otherwise.
Is that on any roll?
On any roll.
Any D20.
If you really want to guarantee a hit, you've got away.
Kind of want to
Uh,
see, but
Let's see. Who else was heading to the bar? Cass, were you heading there?
No, I went home for the night and threatened my
Went home
door.
for the night. Okay. Augie went home.
I started to wander that way, depending on what time of the evening it was. I could have probably been coming through that area.
You go ahead and roll as well.
Okay.
And Corvus, you're busying yourself around the garrison, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, very nice. And Faldir as well, please.
Alrighty then.
Okay. Carrick, RG, and Faldir. As the night's winding down and you're outside enjoying the cool evening air, you see some odd pinpoints sort of sailing through the air. Red and arcing. And suddenly, flaming arrows start to land within the village, hitting rooftops, some hitting the ground, building sides, and they all start to catch. As this happens, you hear a roaring, thunderous group of voices starting to scream and chant in the distance.
would I pick up on this at some point?
You would hear the noise,
Okay.
and then
Then
after-
I'll notice that else.
after that roaring fire starts to catch, you do notice buildings starting to go up in smoke.
Dad! My dad's in there! Shit!
A couple of arrows do hit the cavern, the tavern. And the revelry continues inside until the noise of yelling and roaring starts to catch on, and you hear things start to quiet down inside as people start to wander out into the streets.
I'm gonna actually, when I notice that the flaming arrows are hitting the tavern, and people are coming out, I'm gonna rush in.
Okay.
And
Duck home, right?
You
What was
push
that?
by people to get inside.
wait, what did Tatum just say?
I think he
Made
made
a
a
really
joke.
bad pun.
Okay. I thought you said Stockholm.
I do too.
I don't
really
have a
did.
syndrome. Going the wrong way for that. Gonna rush in and find either my mother or the tavern keeper, whichever one I find first.
Mhm.
And it just flaming arrows just hit the roof.
You find your mother. She's working there as well. And she gives you a confused look and goes, "What? What?"
There's chanting outside, and yelling and flaming arrows hit the roof. I don't think that's a good thing.
And she glances out, as many people are now starting to, and that chanting is growing louder and it's starting to become quite audible, even indoors, even with people still murmuring and talking. And through the windows, she can see fire starting to spread from house to house, and screams starting to pick up from the village. And she looks at you in alarm, as if she doesn't know what to do. And people are starting to rush out.
Out of character, because the one thing I did not know,
Mhm.
and I've meant to ask you about this and I forgot, we would be living outside of the tavern, correct? We would not
Yes.
be living at the
Yes,
tavern.
you would be outside the tavern.
I was like, I don't know how the work works for this. So,
Because people rotate through here in and out, there are a lot of houses that end up going unused. So there tends to be enough room for people to live in their own separate places.
okay. I see the tavern keeper.
Yeah, she's behind the bar, and she's starting to hear the screams and such, and she's going to yell over you. Carrick, darling, what's happening?
I'm going to be when I was out getting my dinner, there was
And you
the
are
chanting
interrupted by people actually starting to yell fire.
that.
Fire. And then you hear the garrison starting to they've got a sort of bell that they use. Well, they rarely use, but you can hear it going off. And Corvus, you are interrupted by people starting to rush through the garrison.
Mm.
As you're working there, cleaning things, people are actually starting to grab arms and armor, if they weren't already wearing them, and rush out. And there are shouts and commands being yelled back and forth.
Where's the captain?
A guardsman stops briefly and yells, "Captain's missing. This is something going on outside. Fire. Arrows." He looks you up and down.
Well, get out there.
He gives you sort of an annoyed look. Well, arm yourself, man. And he's going to run out as well.
He's gonna rush off to his sort of study or his work area and give a quick look over of what he has available.
Which, unfortunately, isn't a whole lot. You have your tools that you need for your profession. You've got your bow and saw.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. You've got your bow and saw, your clothes.
He's
basic things.
Gonna get his bag. He's probably put his bag away, but he's gonna get that. He's gonna hold up his bone saw. It's like, well, let's go practice medicine. Sorry, I had to do that.
Right. You head on out as well?
Yep. I will go off, and as I'm heading to town, I will pause at my house, my father, and quickly
There is fire spreading
from
the top floor of that house.
Aisha. He's gonna go in the house.
Okay. You head in the house, and it's very smoky. But thankfully, as the fire started upstairs, the smoke hasn't come down too much. But the fire is clearly starting to spread down the staircase. And you find your father sleeping in his chair.
Okay. We'll run to him, sort of give him a pat on the cheek, say, Father?
Yes? Hello, boy.
Hi. We have to go. The house is on fire.
He glances up and looks around in his room, which seems okay right now, despite you can hear the crackling flames. He's like, no, it's quite all fine. Your imagination's running wild, child.
It is not. We need to go. I'm gonna take you to the garrison and put you in my office. You'll be safe there. But we have to leave.
Oh, no. I don't want to leave. I don't. And he just starts to shake his head and starts to pick up books. I've got my books here. I'm fine here.
He will take the book and push it down on his father's lap, and then cup the chin of his father and make him look up to the staircase.
He sort of peers at it in confusion, as if not entirely sure what he's seeing, before he slowly stands up from his chair and he grabs your arm and he says, Boy, there's a fire? There's a fire, boy?
Yeah,
We
we're
must
leaving. We're going
and
now.
Then he heads towards his bookcase
Uh,
and starts trying to pile books up into his arms.
There's no time, Dad. We gotta go.
No,
got to go.
I have to have my books. I have to have my books.
There's always more books. We got to leave now.
And he seems to be phasing you out. He's still continuing to grab books, and that fire is starting to spread rapidly now.
He is going to grab his father and try to now pull him away.
Okay. If you would make me a strength check, please.
That's not good.
Not a save, a check.
Oh, check. Well, this. That one.
Here.
Okay.
Luckily, the sad thing was it was technically the same roll.
I always get those confused. Yeah.
And he's going to do this with disadvantage.
Rolling a 0
It just goes to show you,
sad.
kids. Books sap your strength.
Okay. You can easily pull your father along. He's old. He's elderly now. He's not as strong as he used to be. And he drops some books and he sort of cries out for them. It's like, unhand me, boy.
He is pretty much now, like him, tone deafing his father out and just dragging him out of the house.
Okay. So you can pull your father out and you start to head back towards the garrison?
Yeah.
Okay. RG.
Yo.
You were outside when this started to happen. You have seen these arrows rain down.
Your wares are very flammable.
Yeah, you do see quite a few impact your brewery in the distance. And the fire does start to spread. They've all sort of impacted the side of the building and the fire starts to catch along it.
She kind of gets a deer in the headlights look for a minute and then starts moving with incredible purpose to go get the only thing in her house she cares about.
Okay, you rush towards your house. The garrison is past your house in the distance, and you can see guardsmen starting to rush out, and they're all starting to spread throughout town. As you run along, you see people coming out with buckets. There's a sort of unspoken thing of if a fire starts, people grab buckets and start to try and do a chain, but the fire's everywhere, and people seem very confused as to what to do.
Focusing on their own houses and ignoring.
And that's it's very inefficient. The people are crowding around the well, starting to yell and shove. But you reach your house. The blazing hasn't taken over the front door yet, so you can head on in if you want.
She basically just slams it open, practically taking off the hinge, and just goes for a backpack she's kept in one of the downstairs rooms. That was the backpack her father had nicknamed basically the bye-bye bag. Because they were so used to just leaving in the dead of night, and she's just kind of kept it up as the last thing that's left.
Right, you run in and you grab that quite easily. Already smoke is starting to build in here, and you hear the shattering of glass as the heat starts to break windows.
She just kind of looks at the place for a second, mutters a kind of quiet bye, and just runs out the door again.
Okay. Cassiopeia, you were just trying to settle down for the evening.
And a
When
plastic bag got whipped by the wind past you.
and you ran off into the distance. And you were sitting down indoors in your home when you heard thump, 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 seemingly from the side of the building on your rooftop.
Ear twitches. Seriously, those kids.
And
Caspia's-
then, after a few seconds,
she's
you
getting
start
up.
to hear chanting, very muffled, distant chanting.
She's standing up, cracks her neck. I'm going to beat those kids into a pulp.
All right.
And
What do you do?
she is going to throw open her door and find chaos.
Yeah, you see buildings starting to catch a blaze. You see people running about. You hear a distant chanting, sort of a "Ingradefio, Ingradefio," and people are screaming, yelling for help, save their buildings, save their possessions. People trying to fill up buckets from a well, despite people already there shoving each other about. You can see guards starting to run through the street. Yells of, "Where's the captain? Where's the captain? What should we do?" And you can glance up and see that your own building is starting to catch a blaze.
Okay. Caspia is going to step backwards and close her door politely, and then she's going to go quickly get dressed.
Well, thankfully for you, getting dressed is as simple as putting on a top, essentially.
Yeah, pulling on her standard shirt.
Yep.
The bow will get gotten later.
And do
And
you remain
she's-
indoors?
No, she's grabbing her traveler pack because she's probably going to need it, especially if the fire is continuing. But if nothing else, it gives her bedroll so she can sleep outside tonight. And she is going to then go through her door and try and help.
Okay. I assume you probably grab a bucket from indoors.
Yes, and I'm going to try and help save the biggest building that we can that can support the most people, which would be the tavern.
That would be the tavern.
And
Is
I'm-
it her feedback bucket?
However, there are people crowding the well. It's very hard to get to it. Do you shove through, or do you try and convince people to let you through?
I'm going to. Cassiopeia is the very calm and demure type, and she's just suddenly move.
Okay. Give me a intimidation roll, please.
Oh God! Everyone's just going to look at her like, "Are you trying to be intimidating, sweetie? You're bad at this."
Oh,
Yeah.
Sweetie, you are bad at this.
So
you basically go move and you stamp your feet.
Yeah, you get out, and a couple of people at the back of the crowd glance at you briefly, and then go back to ignoring you. You might even hear a yell of "Move yourself!"
I'm seeing someone who has grabbed a bucket of water. I am grabbing them by the back of the collar and the back of the belt and pushing towards the tavern.
What? Get off me! Unhand me!
Tavern first, everything else later.
I don't care about the tavern. I care about my home.
Bigger place. If we don't start somewhere, we're going to lose everywhere.
Okay, do a persuasion for me.
Fuck.
He sort of slaps your hand away.
I'm going to use my inspiration for a +10.
A +10. Okay. In that case, he looks annoyed, but he looks around, heeding your words as he sees so many buildings burning, and that realization does seem to dawn on him as you make him think. He's like, tavern, right? Okay, yes.
And this coming from the idiot Tor.
And he himself actually starts to yell at people. Saves the tavern. It's safe. Would you like to help him continue to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The two of you start to.
I am hauling up as many buckets as quickly as I can because I
Right,
figure I'm bigger and I have a bigger draw length.
You do start to get organized. Not everybody. Some people are still being selfish and trying to head off, but there's enough to get a bucket line at least, and they start to, toss it at the tavern. Let's see. Maggie, Garrett, Casilbia. Right, Faldia.
Yes.
Your home is untouched so far. But you do hear distant yelling, distant screaming starting to happen. Do you ignore it, or do you check it out?
There was a noise coming from the opposite direction of the village.
Yes. I see, on the other side of the village to you. More immediately, you can hear screams for help and fire. A bit muffled, but it's audible enough. And then a very distant sort of as chanting is joined by what sounds like drum beats.
I'm going to lift up the battle axe that I had planted in the ground in the earlier encounter with the deer.
Mm-hmm.
And start rushing towards the village.
Most immediately, you can see smoke rising above the village, and as the tree line clears, the flames themselves, you can see people running about through streets and distantly in the town square, trying to save their property, or there seems to be a line forming to try and save the tavern. Notably, a few people are rushing out of the village now, and in various directions. As you actually head into the village itself, there is a local, basically, pigeon keeper for the garrison, and he is talking hurriedly to a guard who is handing him a note. And the pigeon keeper grabs out a pigeon, attaches it to the pigeon and releases it, and then starts to actually release all of them. You're old and travelled, so you can either do history or insight.
I will try an insight.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. Things must be very, very bad. There is no reason he would release that entire flock unless he expected them to perish otherwise.
How close am I to them at this point?
You are, as you're running along, you see them release, and within 10 seconds you can be close enough.
All right.
You're basically getting into the village at this point.
What is coming at us?
The guard that was talking to the keeper turns at you, looks you up and down, and just says, "Goliaths from the south. More than we can count."
I'm going to turn and rush back toward the tavern.
Okay. As you rush towards the tavern, you hear the guard's frankly terrified voice go, "Get people out! Get people out!" And Gifton.
Yeah.
You can see that. You can hear that. You've been watching people run and scream. What would you like to be doing?
Well, first I needed to make sure my dad got out of the tavern because he was in there.
Okay. So, do you want to keep an eye out, or do you want to actually head in yourself?
I'm keeping an eye out, and I'm trying to flag down because I'm assuming runners are going all over the place right now.
Yes,
they're all
you do see.
buildings.
As you know where to look,
Yeah.
you do see brownies dashing back and forth and
I'm assuming
becoming
they're getting
quite
out of all the
careless in doing
buildings.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are now being careless in doing so. They are just clearly running, which elicits a few confused yelps and startled noises from townsfolk.
Yeah. But so they all don't really have time to deal with anything right now. So everybody's kind of like, the rats are coming out of the sewers kind of thing. It's flooding, right?
And if you would give me a perception check, please, as you look towards the tavern.
Okay. So perception, please stop failing me.
9.
Did it roll? No, it didn't roll. There it rolls.
Oh, there we go. Okay. You do see your father on one of the sort of upper windowsills, because he was up in the rafters, as were you, talking to a figure that you can see quite clearly is Bakir.
Ah, Bakir.
And they seem to be arguing frantically over something. Bakir is gesturing towards the distance where the chanting is coming from. Your father is shaking his head and gesturing away from there. You can only imagine they're debating what should be done.
Okay. I can't get up there quickly, can I? It'd be a lot of going up and out.
I will let you do me some acrobatics checks if you so please, if you want to try and get up there quick.
Okay.
Give me 2.
Give me 2. All right.
Okay. Yep. You start to you run towards the tavern and you start to scamper up the side of the building. The brownies have both utilised little cracks and made their own little handholds, little hidden notches. And
I like to think that there's like a cord or something that I cut a cut a wire.
And as you do actually get up further, there is in fact a sort of piece of it's disguised as sort of a string. As if like maybe a balloon popped here at one point and it's just gotten hooked and caught.
Yeah, I just kind of swing up with that and then.
Yeah, and you climb up and just as you get to the top, it looks like those two are about to depart each other.
Father, Bakir, there's Goliath's coming. The guards are saying everyone should evacuate the city.
Bakir scowls at that. It's like, we should be fighting them off, and your father's shaking his head.
They said that's more than they can count. I don't think they're very smart, and they can't count that high, but I don't know how many that is.
Your father gestures off towards the distance where the farm you live in is. And he's like, get to grandmother. I'm going to go find your mother, okay? We're leaving.
Yeah, Dad.
And Bakir, he actually steps forward to grab your arms, and he's like, you can't just run with your family.
What do we
do? We arm ourselves. I've stolen away some weapons. They may ignore us, but if they don't, we can scare them off.
I look between the two, and maybe we'd save more people that way.
Your
it's
father.
Our home.
Your father gives you a pained look, and it's like, no, we can't stay. Not after last time.
But Dad, this is our home.
He clenches his eyes shut, and he then gives you a very stern look and points off towards the farm. Go get your grandmother. Make sure she's safe. I'll come get you.
I look at Bakir in that way of I want to go with you, and then I give that defeated yes, father, and I go start swinging back down.
You hear Bakir. It's clearly not directed at you. It's directed at your father. Just a sort of coward. As they both split off in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And you head towards your farm.
Is it on fire?
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh, no.
Carrick.
Yes.
What are you up? What are you doing? Tavern's burning. People have formed a line bucket to try and save it. Your mother's there, scared and confused.
Have we heard anything about... We haven't heard about what's attacking yet, I take it.
Not yet. There's a slight jump back and forth in time to handle people here.
Okay, no problem. Making sure that I'm going by the right thing.
Yeah.
We should help with the buckets if we can put the fire out. We might be able to save the tavern still.
She nods, glancing up at the arrows fearfully, and goes, "But aren't we? Isn't this what's happening?"
I don't know, Mother. The shit. What the hell's it? The garrison bell went.
It's about that time that a couple of guards do start to yell towards the town square, and just start yelling, "Flee north to the north now, go!" And you can see towards the south, guards starting to line up and spread out at the edge of the village.
Which direction's our house?
Your house, it would be towards the guard line. The tavern itself is on the further north side of the village. The garrison is towards the south. Most things are between them.
What is the tavern keeper's name?
George.
Miss Thornbury.
Smashing.
Just say, are they wild?
You better
Miss
believe it.
Thornberry, can you go with my mother? I'm gonna go back to her house and try to grab some of her stuff real quick.
She nods. Of course, darling, of course. And she takes your mother's hand, and they both start to head off. They're not even. She doesn't even bother going back into the tavern for anything. She starts to run.
And Carrick is going to go full tilt towards the house.
Okay. As you head towards the house, you, well, actually, all of you can start to hear no longer just the pounding of drums, but a more thunderous noise, a more repetitive of hoofbeats on both sides of the village, storming many of them. And those that can see the guard line in the distance, from past that guard line, approaching from the trees, tall, furred, wearing furs and leathers, humanoids. They look mostly human, but they are much bigger, much more muscled, much more tattooed than most people are. Most of them are carrying battle axes, rather jagged, crude swords. Some more armored than others, and one in particular at the center is wearing thick, heavy plate armor, which is very unusual for the barbarian tribes. It's coated in furs. It makes a big cape on him, spikes coming off the shoulders, and he is holding a sword that looks far bigger than even he should be able to carry.
Hello, Mr. Chaos Lord.
Right.
And you see him raise that sword with one hand, pointing into the village, and suddenly the barbarians start to charge.
And you said the hooves were coming from both directions, north and south?
No, coming from the south and spreading both east and west around the village.
Okay, so they're encircling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's all Cassiopeia's fault.
Damn horses.
Yep.
They're centaur people have ruined us all.
It's a really good thing I didn't go with that instinct of creating a Goliath I had initially.
Man, that's what
That would be
awkward
no
combat.
Actually, you could have been. Actually, it might make this really easy for you. At least until you read into the rest of the
Change
talk.
sides.
Brothers!
Brothers, I have prepared this village for you.
He was their
I was here
undercover
all the
agent.
time, guys.
Do you continue heading towards your home, Carrick?
Yes, there's two things I need to get from there.
Okay. I imagine you pick up speed.
Yes.
So you rush towards your home. You can see the approaching Goliaths sprinting towards the guard line. There's a little bit of distance between them, and a few guards are actually crouched with black powder rifles. You hear the crack boom of those going off. A couple of Goliaths fall. Some flinch, their shoulders jerking back briefly, but they keep coming. You can hear frantic yelling of orders, and unfortunately, a couple of guards sort of starting to hesitate and step back. And you, as you reach your home and head inside.
I'm going into Mom's room and grabbing the 2 bags. She had a bag that she always said was my father would want me to have, and I'm grabbing her bag and real quick my bag with my one only important thing, the fancy clothes that I saved up all year to buy.
Very vital.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Back to Gifton. The Sinclairs, not the Sinclairs. That's the foot people. Your family's
The
farm's
halflings?
the Riley household. It is burning, and you can see the blaze has encompassed most of the family farmhouse now. You can see in the wall where your little own personal home setting is. Flames are above it, but they have not fully engulfed it yet. What do you do, Gifton? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What?
Yeah,
lost. Oh, there she is.
Oh, are we back now?
Yeah, sorry. I had a bit of flicker. What did you say? I missed it.
Okay. As you get back to the Riley farmstead, you can see most of it is engulfed in flame. You can hear screaming from the upstairs windows of the Riley family themselves. They've always been nice and kind. They've always left their offerings. But now they seem to be in fear and panic, and you hear screams of pain. Your own little family setting on the farmhouse wall. It's not quite engulfed yet.
Do I think I can do anything for the Rileys?
Probably not.
Okay, I'm gonna grit my teeth and I'm gonna run for my door.
Okay.
And see if I can find my grandmother at least.
As you get into the door, there is smoke everywhere. It must be channeling down through the walls or something, you're not sure, but it is thick and it is black.
Okay, I'm trying to find her. Grandma?
Right. Give me some perception checks, please. Give me 2.
There's 1. 2.
Okay. At first, you get a little lost in there. You stumble about. The smoke stings your eyes. It burns your throat. But as you wander through your house and you look into the kitchen, you can see your grandmother on the floor, not moving.
I'll go over in a rush to check her. She's still alive?
Give me a medicine check.
Okay. I am not trained like other people.
As you cough and hack, you try and feel over her. You shake her a bit. She doesn't stir, and you frankly can't tell.
Can I pull her out?
Yeah. She's old. She's frail. She's light.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick her up.
Okay.
And
I'll haul her out because I don't know any better.
Okay. Right, you haul her out outside, and as you reach the door. Into the fresh air, you can lay her down on the ground. And then you feel a tugging. It's not quite physical, it's not quite mental either, it's just something is pulling you, making you want to turn around.
I spin on my heel.
It's weird, it's clearly black and smoke, it's clearly just nothing there, but it's like there's a trail you can almost imagine, and it's beckoning back into the house.
I pull up my cloak and I dive back in because
Okay.
I'm a brownie. We're all about the feelings, yo.
Yep. And you follow that feeling, and you can easily even despite the smoke, you can move through your house. It leads you. It calls to you, and then you see it on the wall, mounted and unused for years and years and years, decades even. An old family relic, bow that has gone long since forgotten. Just a nice bit of storytelling from your grandmother.
I'm gonna pull it down in a hurry.
As you pull it down, it feels warm, warmer than the heated air, even, but not painful. Just the warmth of comfort and confidence seeming to emanate from it itself. And what are you going to do?
I'm gonna look to see if we had a quiver next to that. Rush back out to go check on my grandmother.
There is a matching quiver, but unfortunately,
It's on fire.
no arrows.
I will grab the quiver anyway.
Yep. However, you thought no arrows, but as you grab the quiver, there's a little rattle. One single forgotten arrow.
Good enough. Better than nothing. And then I'm gonna rush out and I'll try and check on my grandmother some more. I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to ascertain if she's alive or dead now that she's outside.
Yeah. I'll let you have another roll now that it's clearer out, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now that I'm not in obscured smoke, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The flames are really making it a lot easier.
Oh,
for you.
Stammy.
oh, alright. I'm gonna
Sorry.
spend my inspiration. Is my grandmother alive?
Your grandmother is alive. However, her heartbeat is slow, and that she feels like she's barely breathing. She's not doing good.
Come on, Grandma, you gotta hold on. Who do I know that's like our healer?
Your healer would probably be, unfortunately, in the village. Let's see. I would say
Where would I think that
one of the draw lights is very well versed in medicine. You know, the pompous, educated bastards.
Yeah.
Probably we'll say one of the older houses in the village. It's a couple of houses down from the tavern.
Alright, well, I'm packing Grandma.
Okay. All right, you start to rush back into the village.
Yeah. Because,
It's
I basically, it's either that or if I know that if there's a place that we're supposed to meet. Because Dad just said wait at the house, and I don't think she can wait.
Mm-hmm. Nope. As you rush towards the village, you can actually see from the smithy itself a few of the Greysteels rushing out with weapons, swords, and starting to spread throughout the village and mostly heading towards the south. A few head off to places you know other brownies are sort of nested, you know, probably going to give them word or so on.
I'm gonna try and wave one of them down.
Okay, you see actually the Greystool's Becca's son. Let's see. Let's give him a name.
Reginald.
Let me call him Care.
Oh.
That way it's
Care?
supposed to be Care.
Herbert.
Yeah. Okay. Care, you know, Becca Jr., also known as Care to you, stops and he actually rushes over to you. Gifton, are you okay?
Well, my grandmother, she's there's something wrong with her. The smoke got her. Where anyone who does medicine or healing is at. She needs it bad.
The draw lights they're already fleeing. I
give him this helpless look of I don't know what to do.
he glances around and goes, "Where's your family?"
I don't know. Dad went one way, and I haven't seen my mom yet.
He clenches his eyes shut before he throws his blade down on the ground and holds his arms out. Yeah, give me her.
All right, I'll give him my grandmother.
Right, I'll take her. You find your family, okay?
Okay.
I'll get her safe.
All right,
And
I'll
he
kiss her
actually
forehead,
kicks.
and I'll give him a kiss on the cheek. You stay safe too.
He smiles at you faintly, and he sort of nudges with his foot the little longsword he was carrying towards you.
All right, I will pick it up and strap it on.
Mm-hmm. It's clearly fashioned from a pin, but it seems to have been tempered somehow. The Grey Steels are rather secretive about how they do their stuff.
Old Fey magic that they know how to tamper with. Secrets. Okay.
Yeah, and he rushes off towards the north.
Okay. Well, I will go see if I can find my mom then, or my dad.
Okay. Augie.
Mhm.
You come out of the brewery, and you can see a line of Goliaths clash with the guards at the southern end of the village. There are some screams and yells as axes cut into armor, swords stab at flesh, and the small garrison is quickly overwhelmed. They try and hold their line, but Goliath slip through, dash past, and they are starting to head into the village itself. The thundering of hooves around the village starts to quieten down. You'd guess perhaps holding a line, but there are a few hoof steps that start to charge in from the sides themselves.
Argu's going to grab basically what was left of a broom she'd broken drunkenly a while back,
Mm-hmm.
and basically just grab the handle and stow it, and is actually going to try and attempt to stealth to try and get to other people.
Okay, give me a stealth roll.
Okay.
Beep-a-da-bop.
Very nice. Okay, let me do a GM roll.
Boop-a-da-bop.
Okay. You slip through alleyways, you duck behind barrels, you even use the blinding flames to try and mask yourself from sight. And you manage to slip over towards the tavern quite easily, where most of the people are. There are guards commanding people to run, and many people are obeying, but there are a few that are stubbornly standing by. You can see, frankly, most of the party are starting to arrive in the square. Corvus,
Yes.
you get to you try to get your father to the garrison. However, you are quickly turned back by the guards as you see something very strange indeed. The garrison is one of the furthest buildings on the edge of the village, and it is being pelted with rock and hail and fire from a distance.
Okay.
Its stones are shattering. Its walls are collapsing, as seemingly from out of the forest line, just soaring and arcing blasts of lightning, fire, ice.
The
And one of the guards just yells, "Back, man! Back! Get out!"
Right. Yes, of course. Do we have a retreat?
He opens his mouth to reply to you, and then jerks as an arrow lances through the crack between his helmet and his chest plate through his neck. You hear a gurgle as he falls to his knees. And arrows start to rain down around you.
Okay.
Give me a dexterity save, please.
Dexterity. Hopper.
Okay. You manage to turn and dodge these arrows raining around you. You can hear the whistling, see them soaring through the air. It's very distant firing. It's not accurate. It's not aimed. It's pure luck. Unfortunately, you hear your father scream out in pain as an arrow pierces through his calf.
I'm gonna grab him. Is there a nearby alleyway?
Yep, there's plenty of alleyways here.
Okay. I'm gonna grab him and pull him into that alleyway.
As you move to the alleyway, you see a Goliath standing in it, stalking down it.
Well, shit. Does he see me?
He sees you, and he doesn't pick up any speed. He just continues to move towards you. He's got a battle axe in each hand and a long, cruel grin crosses his face.
Okay. He's going to look at his father and oh fuck, Allie.
Do we really sit on keeping that parrot, right?
Yeah. He's gonna
If you
look.
want, you can try and pick up your father and run, or you can abandon him.
I know.
Like an unfortunate son who will forever hate themselves for what they've done.
Go try to pick him up.
Okay. He does not resist you. He does not struggle. However, I need you to make a strength check.
Okay.
Okay. You scoop him in your arms, and I imagine you turn to try head away from the Goliath.
Yep.
As you, it's not the weight itself. It's the awkward mass. He's not cooperative. He's not resisting, but he's hard to carry, especially through the alleyway. And as you run, you stumble and fall with him to the ground. And you hear a raucous laugh from the Goliath, who then breaks into a sprint towards you.
He is going to look at his father again. Puts his forehead on his. And then
as you put your forehead on his,
yeah,
you feel his hands grasp your cheeks. And he just goes, "Run, boy."
he will kiss his forehead and then leave.
Okay. You, as you depart the alleyway, you hear your father yelling curses and insults, rather sophisticated ones, towards the barbarian brutes. And then they're cut off.
Yeah. He is going to dash through the alley to the square.
Okay. You head towards the square. Cassiopeia,
Yes.
where do you want to go?
Well, I've been helping putting out the fire.
Yep, and there have been yells to run and flee. Mostly from guards.
What?
The guards have been telling people to run.
Have they said which direction?
To the north. Flee north. And you can see through the south, the guard line is breaking. There are Goliaths slipping through, starting to run. Some kicking down doors, running into houses. And they are approaching.
Everyone on the fire line I'm pushing going, go, 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 go.
Okay. People drop buckets. People start to run. The line breaks. People aren't trying to save anything anymore. Suddenly, everyone is trying to run. It's not orderly. While some do flee north as ordered, some seem to flee. Some head to their houses. Perhaps desperation to grab possessions. Desperation to think, hey, maybe I'll be safe there.
I'm moving everyone, and I'm interposing myself between the breaking guard line and everyone who's running.
Okay.
And I'm looking for something to clobber someone with.
Right. Unfortunately, there's nothing quite close at hand. However, you do hear the thundering of bits approaching from a street to the west, and you see a Goliath on horseback, and this is a monstrous horse. It's huge, far bigger than any steed you've seen, unnaturally so. And it is charging down. You see it cut someone down quite easily, and then it starts to head towards you.
I would like to countercharge.
You want to countercharge? Okay.
Do you have a weapon? Because
I technically do at the moment.
Okay.
Because I can charge and I can kick him.
Yeah, but
And
don't
my
you have to kick
kick
people
does-
behind you?
Shit, I'm
No.
losing my bet.
Actually,
could you hear Ali's surprise?
what?
Nothing. Okay. Right. He is heading for you. You are heading for him. Go ahead and roll an attack as you both charge and approach each other very rapidly.
Okay. So
I think I might be learning a lesson right now by watching somebody else fight.
Okay, so I am assuming I have moved 30 feet towards him.
Yep. I'll give you that. So go ahead and take your fancy.
Okay,
Thingy
that allows
thingy.
me to do a reaction check or a reaction to kick him. So, are my hooves considered a proficient weapon?
They would be because everyone is actually proficient with unarmed. However, not right now.
Okay, so roll.
You are a
D20.
proficient commoner currently.
Okay, so just a D20.
Do 20 plus your strength modifier.
Okay, plus.
You just don't get your proficiency bonus. Okay,
No.
that misses. The Goliath itself swings down with a little hand axe. Didn't expect to be actually doing proper attack rolls, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. And he
Well,
has...
D20 plus 14.
She said hand axe, not great axe.
I don't
Okay.
know. It's
Oh,
pretty
why
good.
did I roll a d10?
I don't
One
know. why.
second.
I'll take it. I'll take it and say it
No,
misses.
you don't take it. That's a natural 10.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Alright, there you go.
oh
Oh,
my
oh.
god.
okay.
Let me scroll back
That
up.
hit.
I have a gift for this. When the DM rolls a 19.
Alright,
Hmm.
So who's flying first? I am.
Okay, as that swings down,
I don't want to say I told you so, but I totally told
you
you.
take 7 points of damage as his little hand axe cuts into your shoulder.
Ow. Really, ow.
And he continues charging past you down the street. Because I think if I have him swing around again to attack you, you might die. You see a nearby guard looking at you as if you are fucking insane. And he points off to the north.
Fuck, what to do, what to do. I'm going to keep pushing people ahead of me and grabbing anyone I can, but I am retreating.
Okay.
I am not enraged, so I am not doing stupid.
Owie, 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 owie. All the way out of town, right?
Yep. Right, Carrick,
Yes.
you come out of your house. There are Goliaths everywhere. You can see them bashing down houses across the street. You can see them very close.
I'm going to try to sneak past them all.
Okay, roll me your stuffs. Oh. Fucking hell. Okay, you managed to stealth by them pretty easily. Fucking
I was-
blind fucks.
I was actually hoping when you said that, I was actually expecting you to add to the other roll.
Yeah, I was too.
I rolled a 2.
They're too busy bashing the houses. They're like, "Where's that sound?" Wall fall down.
To be fair, there's probably a lot of screaming going on, and they're probably really attentive to the screaming.
The flames and burning buildings are pretty loud.
You dash and swerve and basically dive and manage to avoid all of the Goliaths pretty easily. Where would you like to head?
I am heading to the north. I'm going to try to meet back up with Miss Thornberry and my mother.
You go to try and join the evacuation.
Yeah.
Okay. As you move along, can you give me another stealth check, please?
Yes. Maybe.
As you start to hit the northern border. Wow. You see a Goliath cutting down a guard just ahead of you. The Goliath turns and looks around briefly and then heads off to find more prey. The guard is clearly dead. There is a great big gash that nearly cleaves his body in two. The guard himself was carrying a bow and dagger. And you can see the bow is scattered across from him, and he was trying to pull his dagger out.
I am going to salvage possible useful items.
Yep. You stealth over to him, and you can easily grab his weapons, his ammo.
Okay.
His belt pouch even contains a few loose coin.
Okay. He doesn't need any more. Gonna pocket. I'm gonna shove it in the. Other than the bow, because I'm pretty sure it will not fit in the bags I'm carrying.
Mm-hmm.
I will continue to try to avoid the giants.
Okay.
By the way, they're speaking in giant, aren't they?
They are speaking a very crude form of giant. Do you understand giant?
Yes, I do. I fluently speak giant.
Okay. So far, it is mostly orders, just to purge the village, essentially.
Okay.
That is what they are getting. There are jokes being tossed back and forth. They are clearly enjoying themselves. Give me a perception check, please.
She wasn't kidding when she said crude.
Ooh,
Oh, very nice. You hear a shout from down the street. It sounds authoritative, and it basically can be summed up as, very good. Y'all of y'all shall be very pleased. Make sure none are left.
Do I recognize that name? I don't know if it's
Y'all of y'alls? Nope, that is...
Okay.
You know what a
That's
y'all
okay.
is?
What is
It
y'all?
It is a Jarl of the Jarl.
Y'all
Jarl
is...
is like the king, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the king of kings. It's Jesus.
You continue on north. Okay. Faldir.
Yes.
So people started running. People started doing as they were ordered to. And the Goliath started to swarm. Where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm heading home.
You're going home.
Yeah.
My job is done here.
Is it like
Oh.
the direction that most people are going?
Yep.
And seems kind of his direction.
I'm done with this.
Fuck it. I'm just gonna tend to my garden.
They better
Yep.
be my tulips.
I'm going home.
Okay, you move north as well. Okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you as you head down the street, give me a perception check, please.
Alright. Oh, lost my cursor for a second there. Ooh.
Okay. You do not see the very sneaky rogue man looting a dead body. However, you do see prowling away a Goliath. His axe bloody, And he turns and locks eyes with you. And that axe is just raised in your direction as he notices you are armed. And he thumps his chest and lets out a bellow. Do you understand giant?
I don't.
Okay. Carrick, you do hear a yell that is basically, I challenge you. And off towards the more east from you, you see a Goliath starting to charge the very familiar figure of Faldir.
It's
Can I
okay,
make a
Blackie.
deception check
Had to make
to
a new character.
throw my voice?
Yeah, sure. I'll allow
Okay.
that.
I
Actually,
will-
performance.
Performance. Okay, that works. I will try to throw my voice in. Not to. I'm going to try to warn him, but I just don't want to give away where I am.
Mhm.
So, form.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
I know his name. Would I know his name?
You know who he is. Yes.
Okay. Thardor, he's challenging you that you may want
You know
to
his name, but you
get
still
away.
got it wrong.
Yes.
Aldia.
Thaldir.
There's some.
He doesn't
things
speak
I can
Dwarven. It's one of the languages he doesn't have.
It's a name. It's not a language.
Totally.
Oh,
Caldor!
No, that's you, Alex.
Tingtone?
Doloman!
Santa Claus.
I'm sorry. Go on.
He's challenging you. You may want to get out of the way. He's hit someone, I think. And I'm watching from hiding.
Because I want to live.
Yes.
Oh no. But he's a Goliath, so they have at least 30-foot run speed.
So he's probably faster than you.
And you're a
And I'm a
dwarf.
dwarf, so that guy is gonna outpace the shit out of me. So
I will give you do an insight for me, Hat, then.
alright, there it is. Well, it's better than the perception.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's pretty obvious. They are being very jovial about this. They're being very relaxed about this. You are civilians, easy to the slaughter. You don't really think you've seen one particularly chase someone down.
Gritting my teeth, and I'm just going to keep heading away.
Okay. You hear a raucous laugh and another. You're pretty sure it's an insult in Giant. And Blackie,
Don't translate
he is
that.
just he
Don't
is just
translate
calling
it.
him a stubbed-legged coward.
I'm not telling him that.
How dare you accurately depict me?
Okay. Man, this is tricky. Trying to keep on top on who you've gone through, man.
You've actually been doing a pretty amazing job. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say, I'm gonna
you're
take a
doing
moment
well.
to say you're doing an amazing job with this. This is pretty amazing, separating everybody out like this.
This
is hell
That's
on
why
every
I'm trying to bring you back together now.
We're trying to get together, but there's
yeah.
a lot going on.
Let's see. We're gonna go back to the Argy.
Yo,
Yo, right.
she probably would have noticed just all the people moving north and just continued to get to the shadows and headed that way out.
Yep, there is a very, very apparent exodus. If you want to keep trying stealth out, please roll for me. Stealthy. Okay, that's pretty fucking good. Just fucking okay. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, this is my luck that one actually saw me.
No. I was just I'm now trying to get people their equipment. You got your quarter stuff.
I was going to say, if I'm making it, I was basically figuring out the goodbye bag that you picked up. That's the stores pack.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine.
Because the
However,
basically equipped to
what I was
town.
pondering, yeah, why not? You pass by the tavern as you are sort of fleeing town, and there's been a clear explosion. It might have been rupturing ale or something more volatile, but the windows are blown out and stuff has been strewn across the street, including, and this is dumb. I'm very sorry about this. A dartboard with a bunch of darts stuck in it.
He's gonna pick it up,
Sentimental
look at
value.
it, shrug,
I
grab
got my
the
high
darts,
score
and
on
throw
this.
the board off to the side,
Uh,
shove them in a pocket, and go.
Ali's like, this is going to be a serious game. How do we get Kronos' darts?
No, I could see that. I could honestly see that. House explodes, dartboard lands, and all of a sudden you just hear this.
Somebody took out the dartboard trying to use it as a shield from the arrows and realized how stupid that was and dropped it.
Okay. Argy is heading north. Faldir, you're heading north. Carrick, you're heading north. Cassiopeia,
Yes.
you're hurt.
Yes.
You are heading down a street, and you see a guard desperately holding off a Goliath. His shield is battered. It is nearly hewn into. This Goliath's great axe, pounding it. The guard's short sword has been snapped into, likely from trying to parry a blow. And as this axe comes down and cleaves into the guard's side, he lets out a pain cry, an angry pain cry, and you see him dive towards the Goliath, slipping off the axe and jabbing the remains of this short sword right through the Goliath's neck.
Ooh.
And both slump and collapse against each other, falling to the floor.
What a way to go.
A blow
I'm
for life,
rushing
that might be a good way to go.
I'm rushing over, and I'm shoving the Goliath off of him, and just get up, come on.
He looks up at you, and he goes to reply, and as he opens his mouth, blood spurts out.
It's just like a
He
bubble
coughs.
of blood comes out. Ugh.
And you see him reach up towards you, and then his arm falls limp. Goliath's great axe is right there.
Yeah, she's grinding teeth, and she's looking back, and she has blood boiling. She's grabbing that great axe.
On its waist, also a hand axe, basically. You can grab your gear from this.
Okay, and I'm also taking his shield.
The shield is ruined. If you want to keep it as a memento, you can, but it is ineffective.
Oh, well, damn. Then I'll need to find a shield somewhere.
Oh, do you actually own a shield?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, go ahead.
It should have been
it's
on there.
battered. It's nearly broken.
Okay.
It's like the axe impacted it at a sort of downward angle at a slant, and it has cleaved most of the shield's front away. So it's very thin, but it's functional.
All right. Well, as I don't get armor to start.
You're a barbarian. You don't need armor.
No,
yeah,
I don't.
You don't want to.
Oh, I do, but I don't.
No, you don't.
Go shirtless the entire time, it's fine.
I'm surprised
Also
you're doing
pantless.
a shield with the giant axe.
That's just because you can turn invisible when you play.
Wrong character.
The barbarian? No, I'm not.
All right. Well, I'm grabbing that stuff, and I'm going to keep pushing the other people ahead of me, and trailing up behind.
You heading north as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, you continue to north.
And I'm going to linger at the edge of this town as long as I can.
Okay. Gifton. What are you doing?
Well, I was trying to find family or anybody
Mhm.
in a panic.
And it very much is a panic as you are dashing about, desperately trying to find people. You do find plenty of people. Brownies running back and forth. Panicked demands to know where so and so is. Where so and so is. Have you seen my father? Have you seen my child? And I imagine you're doing that as well.
Yeah, and I'm telling anybody if I saw anybody. And then I'm just like, get north, get safe, go, you know?
Yeah. And in the distance, you do see your mother and your father. They are arguing. They are at a building's edge. It looks like where your mother currently was working, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There are points and shouts, and your father is trying to pull her away, and it's like there's something she wants to go back in for. And then you see the building start to collapse. It starts to tilt and tip, and heads down towards them, toppling towards them. They both look up.
Yell loud at them, trying to warn them.
And as you yell, your mother looks over towards you. Your father looks up, and you just see him shove her as hard as he can. She goes toppling, rolling across the cobblestone as debris lands on him.
I'm gonna scream in a very IT crowd way, Father! Because that was already blinked once. And I'm going to rush over there and start trying to pull out of the rubble. Even though it's probably like never gonna get it out, but trying.
As you rush over, your mother is already starting to dig, and as you approach, in between you is the clop, clop, clop of a mounted horseman. Interceding between your path and his, you can see clearly beneath him. She's there struggling, and then you can see past that more Goliath boots approaching towards her. And unfortunately, it seems they have started to notice these tiny little things running around.
Oh no.
Perhaps they remember the existence of such things from last time. The horseman actually looks down towards you. And he grins and he gets off his horse. You hear a questioning tone in Giant. Do you understand question, Giant?
I do not.
Do you understand
Giant.
question?
I do not understand the question. Can I incite his posturing?
He looks amused. He looks like he is not bewildered, just questioning, and it's that look of, what are you doing? Why are you here? And that question is actually repeated in very broken common. Little thing with sword. Not fleeing with the rest.
I'm gonna look up at him, and then I'm just gonna flick the sword in my hand, like I just remembered I had it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no fucking more! And I'm going to assume the stupid little stances that my parents or my grandma used to show me, that Grandpa used to do.
He chuckles and turns his back to you and moves back over to his horse and mounts up. And as he starts to ride away, you can look past and you see your mother is no longer at the rubble.
Is she dead?
She's not there.
Oh.
Got on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a bit of a distance down the street. Do you want to head over?
Yeah, I'm gonna rush over.
Okay. As you get over there, you can see strewn little bits of timber and such that she's clearly tried to pull away, but your father is buried deep beneath this burning mass.
Mm-hmm. I'll start pulling at it, and I'm looking around, calling for Dad, calling for Mom. Where are you? Where are you? Answer me, that kind of thing.
Yep, and there is no reply. Eventually, after a few minutes of pulling at this, you see more Goliaths starting to come down the street towards the building. It seems they're starting to circle, patrol, repeat their movements down the street. Now people are fleeing. There are some that are simply just staying within the town and occupying it, while others pursue those that are running.
I'm going to stand up, realizing that if he's under there, he's dead. And there's no sign of Mom, so either she ran or she's dead. And I'm gonna go try and join the Greysteels.
Okay, so you are going to head south into town.
Yep, I'm heading south into town.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Those that are fleeing north, you will start to be in about the same area. You can sight each other at distance. Those that aren't stealthed, so probably two of you see each other. In fact, with the stealthers, please give me another stealth roll.
So what am I doing?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's what
You
Corvus
were-
is doing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Corvus, what are you doing?
So I was
Are
headed
you-
to this.
Oops.
I was headed to the square because that's where I saw most of the people.
You do see most people are fleeing north.
Okay. So, do I arrive at the square at the time of Cassiopeia charging, or is
It's a little after Cassiopeia is already gone, but
okay?
you do see this tiny little figure moving down the square, the center of the road, seemingly to where the guard line was trying to hold,
Okay.
and it is small, very small.
This is very small. He's going to look around very quickly and then approach the small creature. And he's not, his bone saw is off to his side, but he's just kind of in a wary stance.
Gifton, the town doctor, the one that fixes the feet,
Mm-hmm.
he's coming towards you.
I don't have time, feet fixer.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to go fight, I guess, because that's pretty much what's left. I don't know what else to do. What are you doing? Why aren't you running? Go north.
That I'm trying to. Please,
South is this way, north is that way. Have you ever seen a tree in your life?
yes, of course I have. The guards have already fled. We need to leave together. This is lost.
I'm gonna look him up and down.
He's kind of trembling and he's getting very leery of sticking around.
Alright, my features are actually going to soften a bit because she's actually a little put out because family just died, as far as she knows.
Mm-hmm.
Her features are going to soften a bit.
You can probably.
Let's get you north. Come on. Back up. Go. Watch out. They're patrolling the alleyways.
I am very aware of that.
Yeah. Move quick. Stay to the shadows.
Right. Are you both going to stealth?
Yep.
Yes.
I will stealth with him. Do you need a stealth roll?
Wow. Yes,
I have-
you do. I do need a stealth roll from you.
I
With
have-
advantage, please.
I have advantage, so yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Can I keep an eye on her though?
Yeah. I'm not
Um,
losing you.
You are both trying to keep within distance of each other, so yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
you're fine.
Yeah.
You both make your
Are
way
you
north.
hurt? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Why?
How much do I know about this guy?
You know a decent bit. You don't really interact with the townsfolk, but you do see their comings and goings. You know what he does.
We kind of keep track of vaguely households.
Yeah. You know he has a father. You know he's been struggling a bit to take care of him.
You know his father isn't currently with him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of glance at him and go, are you alone?
Yes.
Me too.
And as you head north through the streets, keeping hidden, occasionally you catch sight of Goliaths pulling people out of the houses. Some are carried off, men and women both. Others are slaughtered on the spot. Giffen, you do actually see Greysteel's fighting every now and then, diving from rooftops or diving from the sides of buildings, window panes, and stabbing with all their might. They even do manage to take down a Goliath. However, they're not fighters. They haven't had to fight for a long time.
Yeah.
And you see them being
crafters, not
thrown.
fighters.
You see them being thrown. You see them being cutting to wouldn't even be correct. The blades just
go through them,
make them go away.
Yeah.
Miss.
And eventually you make it north. Just outside the city. The tree line is ahead. You can see a few other survivors moving, which for the point of brevity, you're all in the same area. You can see each other unless you choose to remain hidden and concealed, but you can make yourself known.
All right, I'm going to okay, foot fixer. This is as far as I can take you.
He's going to how big is a brownie? I mean, is it like
4 or 5 inches tall? They're pretty small.
Yeah.
Usually square, made of chocolate.
He's going to kind of lower himself down. It's like, you're not going back there.
I kind of like grab onto my sword a little tightly, and I go, at the least I can try and buy people time to get farther away.
I don't think that is necessary. They were just going through the village. They're not chasing us.
They have to. They have the leisure.
We can disappear in the forest.
Speaking of chasing in the forest, you do hear scattered about hoofbeats and screams in the distance, various directions.
And I'm just gonna kind of be like looking in different directions and going, they're hunting you in the woods right now. They will find you if they are not distracted.
However, every single one of you, please give me a perception check.
Okay.
You suck.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Nope.
Carrick.
Wow, Carrick.
Who are we missing?
You miss.
Missing the person who never makes a perception roll. Don't worry.
Elf eyes.
I didn't do that bad this time, though.
Argie's drunk.
Artie's drunk.
I just thought the end stage is getting that over. For
Okay.
everyone.
This is very, very obvious, so everybody but RG.
Yeah, bare minimum.
Wow.
As you are talking, the screams of this town ringing in your ears, it's interrupted by a loud scraping noise, and you see stalking down the town into the town centre the armoured Goliath. His face hidden by a long-horned, curved helmet. His sword, he plants into the ground in front of him. It cracks through the cobblestone easily. And he raises both hands towards the heavens. He doesn't clear his throat like that. That's Andy.
I like to think he goes,
By Jove!
By Jove!
I do say.
Citizens of this fair city.
And you hear him shout, Kasor Farigat! Oin say failure! And those that speak giant, you understand this to mean, my masters, this ground is yours. Claim
I
it.
pick up on what he's saying at that point because I can speak giant.
Yep. You hear that. That will turn your attention towards him.
Uh-oh.
And as he speaks, the sky splits asunder. A rent in the air. Unnatural. Painful to look at, even. As darkness falls upon the town. A unnatural sphere. Crackling with purple energy.
Foul
He is a
magic.
Chaos Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Foul magic.
Out
And
of character. I'm sorry.
And the town falls silent. Screams are cut off.
Oh, good. We're all going to die.
It's over, small one.
No, never give up. You gotta have hope. Come on. Actually, no, don't come on. Get safe. I don't know why I think I was taking you with me.
Never give up. Never surrender.
If someone gets an arrow in the foot, I'll call you.
And then she probably shoots stuff in the foot with the
What arrow I have.
Frick! Ah!
And Faldir, Cassiopeia, Argy, Carrick, you can all hear that. You can all see her.
Yeah.
Arguing with the medicine man. And in fact, Faldir and Argy, give me history rolls, please.
Yay.
In fact, you've both been here so long.
Oh my goodness.
High five!
You don't
Hey.
need to do it with advantage.
Both the negative one,
with the
too.
negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been
Both
here
of
long
you.
enough that you don't really. You may have thought you've glimpsed them on occasion, but you've never really confirmed it. But there's so many people that swear by it, so many people that leave offerings that are taken. That little suspicion, Faldir, of how did they organize themselves like that.
We all crapped
Yeah.
around your tulips at night.
You're pretty sure that is one of the little fae folk that the town is rumored to have.
Come on. Let's go. All of you. I'm gonna point at random.
Argy's actually going to stop up to the medicine man and give him and go, first stack, medicine, time to leave. This is worse than 70 years ago, and not many people survived that. Get fucking going.
That's what I'm telling him!
I'm
You-
saying you too, short stack.
You've come with me as well. All of us.
Alright, come on, let's go as a group. It'll make him feel safer.
I'm throwing my voice. Just
where are you
grab
throwing
her.
it?
I don't know, I guess we're gonna try and get out of this woods. Come on, let's go get someplace safe. Come on, let's go. I'm assuming everybody
So-
else is already scattered, so we're probably like the lone
Yeah,
idiots.
you don't see anybody that. Well, actually, you see plenty of people that are dead.
Yeah. You know what?
Well-
We stick together, we fight together, we get through this. Come on, let's go, 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 go. Who's got weapons? I'm gonna hold my bow up.
Argy's going to calmly just
Harley.
Give it up.
You are pretty close to your own home. It's actually a little to the west rather than north. But you're very close there.
That is so
Alright.
rude, is basically what I'm gonna tell Argy.
Well, I tell you what, Mighty Mouse, either you go at your normal speed or you work out with me.
Your breath smells.
I have to
That's
make
fine,
a
get in.
stop.
Just grab her. I'll meet you all at the edge. And he's gonna start. He's gonna actually wait until they start moving. 'Cause he doesn't say what edge.
I'm gonna book it towards my place.
Yeah. Argy's just going to look like, come on, Dwarf, and just book it after him.
Come on.
The dwarf is running that way. It seems as good a direction as any.
It's
Yeah.
good as to go a direction, so let's go a direction.
Yeah.
So I will
I'm
run.
gonna-
I will ride apparently because I'm being carried now. I lost my vote of confidence here.
I am going kind of around because I'm pretty sure that's require me to go through or close enough to said Goliath, so I am dodging around to get that way.
Okay. You all make it to Valdir's without much event. Valdir's place seems to have been not burnt. It's just it's clearly been attacked. The
knocked
plants are
stuff over.
trampled. The door is bashed in. They've
I
even-
make like a
Shadier than
weak
usual.
comment as we're rushing through. Oh man, we did a really good job on the tomato. Oh fuckers.
Petunias. Those
Oh
things
man,
took
those are
forever.
really hard to grow.
Arju's
in
just
this
gonna
way.
look and go, your house looks shittier than usual.
Going to just kick open the door and start pulling every piece of weaponry I've kept from any time in the past.
Okay. Everybody, as Hat Dennis being very nice and convenient here, equip yourselves fully.
What
Yeah,
about
say
my
no to war.
arrows?
Don't worry, Sam. That'll be handled.
Okay.
This ain't no
Before you have
dwarf.
to
This
fight.
is a Swiss Army dwarf.
I just have a lot of thumbtacks.
What I will say
He has a
is,
lot of toothpicks.
Sam, there is some very fine wood he has in there that looks like it would hold its structure if it was carved down by you to be arrows.
Uh huh.
So you can go, hey.
I'll just be like, can you just put this in your bag? No questions. Just put this in your bag. He doesn't need this. This came from the door.
Arju just calmly takes it, stows it in the sack with
I
everything
need that
else.
later.
Put it in the side pocket, it's fine.
All right.
Does Clovis see the injury on Cassiopeia?
You do. Yeah, there is a rather nasty gash on the side, sort of where human half meets horse half on their waist.
Cassiopeia, right?
She just turns. Oh, hi, Mr. Doctor.
Let me take care of that, if you don't mind.
She looks down at where he's. Is he pointing towards the injury?
Yes,
Doesn't it like
he
hack
would be.
your hit points?
Yeah. She looks down and goes, "Oh,
Faint daintily.
Don't fall.
and starts doing this weird sway.
Arju just kind of leans her head over and looks like, what did you do, Brickhouse?
I picked a fight.
With
Yes.
what?
A very big, sharp object.
With one of them.
Yeah, we told you not to hop the fence last time.
Kids these days.
And
I
he
know,
is
right?
he is going to proceed to don his gloves and take out his healer's kit.
Well, as you do that, you do hear yells, very close, approaching yells. Somebody may have spotted you lot hitting here.
I'm
Okay.
gonna look around and panic and go, you should grab every bit of food you can, because we're gonna be on the run. And that's how I'm getting my travel
Everybody
rations.
grabs their rations. And, you feel like there isn't time to stop to do this.
Okay.
There's no time to stop and do healing.
Oh, there is. Oh, okay.
Because that would probably take a short rest.
At this point, you all need to choose a direction to flee. Does everybody have the map I gave out?
I do.
No.
Because I forgot to upload it to Roll20.
Oh,
one.
the other
The world
map.
map.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have the map.
Don't worry.
I just need to know, vague direction, which way you guys wish to flee.
That
Should
way.
follow the road north.
You want to follow the road?
Okay, we should follow the road.
I think
Yeah,
we should
northwest,
go
yeah.
northwest
No,
and stay
yeah,
off the
that's-
road, because they're going to expect us to be on the road.
Mm-hmm. And heading towards the next town that's
Actually,
there might not be a bad idea.
we want to stay in the trees, don't we? So we probably need to go northeast. We could follow that for a while and then cut back onto the road later.
You do. You all know it is the road that's go through past plains and such. Very easy to be spotted.
We should
Whereas
stay,
the
we should stay out
trees
of
are very
the ground.
dense.
I say into trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We need to stay hidden.
yeah, we need trees. Let's hide. Woods.
Okay.
I'm gonna bully. I want woods, guys. I'm better in the woods.
I know these woods pretty well. We should be able to get some cover.
Yeah.
Then, Mr. Koshima, lead on.
Right. So you all start to head northeast towards the far more dense woods. You spend time dodging patrols. There are Goliaths on horseback riding, it seems chaotically, about. Thankfully, they're loud, they're boisterous, and you can hear them coming. The day passes. You have to rest, and you do so. It's not comfortable, it's not warm. Toby, you can get some hit points back during that time, and I'm sure Corvus would help treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Day passes, 2 days of wandering through the wilderness. I would like you to elect.
During our rest time, I'm gonna mend the shield that Cassiopeia got.
Okay, Cassiopeia, you now have a very shiny guard shield.
Yep.
Yay! And during whenever we start to go down for downtime, I am building a impromptu shelter.
Okay. If you would please, you can elect one person to do stealth rolls and one person to help them. It doesn't really matter who. It's just giving advantage.
I have advantage already on stealth rolls, but I don't know if anybody has a higher bonus than me.
I have a 4.
I've got a 5. I think you and I tied.
I might have better, but I have natural advantage, so if you want, I can assist somebody else.
Yeah, I think it would work. Well, if you have natural advantage, that's probably the best way to go.
Well,
okay.
You've got a 5 on it.
Well, I got a 5,
this is just one person rolling, so
yeah. So I'll roll. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you do stealth, and
already, so.
someone else do.
I just roll again. Sorry.
Survival for me.
Does anyone have
may I
roll
ask
24 for a stealth.
Because
I have a
stealth
2 in
is
survival.
to keep you all hidden and to hide the shelters at night. The survival is to navigate.
Okay. So I'm an outlander, so.
So you can easily keep track.
Yes.
During your day's travel, let's start to stretch on. Faldir keeps you all on track, even when you have to change direction to avoid the patrol. He manages to reorientate you all. Gifton very nicely makes sure that you will stay hidden, even helps disguise the shelters at night. Make sure the fire isn't shining too brightly, that it's obscured.
Living in plain sight, hidden is like my MO, so I'm helping.
And about 4 days into your journey, you're all trudging through the wood. Even with rest, it's tiring. It's been cold and uncomfortable. It's wet. And you start to approach towards what looks like to be a small clearing. And you hear voices ahead. You hear someone begging, please, no, don't, just let us go, please. And a familiar voice of a Goliath saying, I think not. You were fun to chase down, but I must rejoin the rest. And can't let you run about. And then you hear the sound of metal striking flesh.
Well,
I like immediately displeased
my
at
nightmares
that
or anything.
noise. And reach for my bow.
You said familiar?
Only in the sense that you recognize the accent, the
not the
species,
not the
the
voice,
inflection.
but the inflection.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Okay.
You can identify it as one of the barbarians.
Yeah. I don't know who I'm riding with right now, but I'm basically gonna look between and go. I just draw my weapon and kind of make that motion of head jab that way.
It's a open clearing.
You are in the tree line right now, but
Okay.
you can see that sort of breaking of light past it that indicates a clearing.
Yeah. All right.
Alright. Well,
I
want to go
still
that
want
way.
to charge out there.
Worked so well last time.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna draw my bow.
And Gifton, as you draw your bow, you've been too busy trying to cope. But as you hold it in your hands, you look down at it, and it's always had a inscription on it, but not one your family has been able to read. It predates even the Sylvan your family knows.
Yeah. What does it say?
However,
Can I read it?
You can see it. It's clear as day to you. It just says, never cruel, never cowardly.
I'm going to say it out loud.
And as you say that, you
Never
feel
cruel, never cowardly.
an acceptance, a confirmation of those words. And you feel a tingling, a sense of being that you have never felt before as you activate your class, please.
Yay, I'm a paladin, bitches!
And as I hope all of you are sort of readying your weapons and preparing for this, please activate your classes as you steel yourself.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Would you like to sneak to the edge of the forest, or are you going to
Clovis.
charge
Are you
blades?
talking to Griffin?
I would like to...
all of you.
I would like
Okay.
to... I'd like to... Well, it
Yeah.
I will
depends. Do I
attempt to
hear any
sneak.
more voices? Like, do we hear anybody else over there, like, in German?
You hear a Goliath mumbling to themselves, and very distinctly to themselves.
Okay, well, let's stealth over there, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
At least the tree line.
If I've got all my equipment, I've got chainmail on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least if
So-
some of us do, then it makes them think there's less of us than there
Would
are.
Yeah.
I'll be stealthy
You can al-
for you.
I am also going to use the group rule of averages if you so
Yeah.
choose to. You can all either choose to stealth yourself, or you can do it for the group. And if more people succeed than fail, you will succeed.
I can offer
So-
to stealth for the group.
Clovis
Alright.
is going to draw or pull out his bone saw out of his satchel and remembers his childhood of going through the alleys with his mother and dash to the trees.
Okay, so everyone roll a stealth check, please.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Already,
stuff.
the group has succeeded. There are more successes than there could be failures.
No, well,
Quite fouled is. You all manage to actually sort of, as Fowler starts to misstep on twigs and such, you manage to guide him.
Kind of
Actually,
pull them
I
in a
can
different
just
direction.
imagine Thaldir stomping along. What? I am being stealthy.
I'm gonna
As
Remy
we-
him from Ratatouille.
Except you're riding in the beard instead of on his
Yeah,
head.
yeah,
you're
just
in the
like
beard.
yank,
Question.
yank, yank.
How the fuck do I move you all to a new map?
Alright, so Allie, at the top, where
At
you
the upper
do the
right,
drop
there's a
down for
little
the maps,
page looking thing.
grab the
Oop.
red player bookmark, drag that
Ah.
over to the other map.
Alright,
yeah.
see
If you
this
want to
map?
do individual
Yes.
people, you grab them from the bottom and then pull them up to the map.
Ah, okay.
And then if you want to recombine them, you drag them their icon at the top to the bookmark again.
Because I can never remember this. Do we drag
Name.
the character sheet itself?
Yes, the name from the character sheet.
The name.
Yeah, if you try and drag the picture,
Um,
then you just drag up the picture.
And you see a barbarian on the opposite side on a opposing tree line. So if you all come up to this corner, please. On
Corner?
top left.
Oh, top.
Up.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what about that, so I was like, I'm just gonna toss my token down and then figure out from there.
And if you go one more square back, please, Gifton
Aw.
and Cassiopeia, get behind the dwarf and or alongside them. You can.
Can I occupy hexes?
Yes, you
Technically,
can.
you can.
I'll occupy hexes.
Right. So basically, that diagonal line where the dwarf and the drunk elf are, you can go up to there. So from here to
Try and be like
here. Yeah. You can even be here if you want.
Nah.
Okay. And roll initiatives, please. I need to pull up a turn tracker. Bam. That's not the
Remember
button.
to click on
Bam.
your token before you roll.
Thanks, game.
Oh, jeez.
At
Ah,
Berserker.
jeez.
Hachi!
Actually, sorry, can I use my inspiration to reroll my initiative?
Yeah.
Hachi!
That's a little better.
What'd you get?
Now I get to learn the rules on sneak attack.
Easy.
Which is a
Like,
much
don't
better
get
than
spotted.
The rules. Have you thought about maybe stabbing someone harder?
That only works on the first attack. After the
Yes.
first attack, you need to know all the
Okay.
special rules.
I may just be quoting that one video.
Right. Combat begins. You all have a surprise round in which to act. Gifton, you are up. You see a Goliath standing over what looks to be two dead, well-equipped people. They're not from the town. One looks to be wearing robes as such. You guess from stories, probably a mage of some sort, and the other just seems to be wearing a now sundered piece of chain armor. They are both seemingly dead.
Okay.
You said there's two barbarians?
And nope, there's two dead adventurers essentially,
Oh, two dead.
and above them, holding a bloody little hand axe, is a Goliath. And I have not put it on the map, but near him is a horse that is just hooked up to a tree.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move my full movement that I can make without taking an additional action. Be impressed.
Oh.
I know,
Also,
so-
Sam,
so
you
far.
were able to, over your days of travel, you would have been able to craft some arrows from that little piece of.
Okay, cool. I am drawing my bow, and since it's the first attack on the guy, and I don't know any better, I am going to try to hit him with.
That's a
I
big
gotta
horse.
I have to
That
fix
is
this.
fucking huge,
That's,
Well, I think parts counts as large, don't they?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
standard size.
man.
Yeah, that's.
Alright, I'm
It's
attacking.
just for that kind of quality of large being just 2 by 2.
That
Attack.
is a hit. That hits.
So that hits. Alright, I'm going for the sleep attack.
Okay. He needs to roll his constitution.
Oh.
Now the juggling begins. Con save. Oh, he fails it. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Wait, wait.
Does he
hang
have
on.
advantage?
What's the same for result? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, he takes the poison damage.
Okay. Well, what
There's a
about
DC's 10, right?
the DC 10
Yeah.
Yes.
for the sleep arrow? Because the poison's just
Okay.
poison damage.
If its saving throw result is 5 or lower,
Falls
target falls unconscious. Okay, so he takes the poison damage.
Yeah, so he's just poisoned
Uh,
on top.
Yeah,
so.
he's just poisoned.
All right, so I go up and I'm basically roaring a challenge in Sylvan. Hey, fat face.
He looks incredibly surprised. As this little tiny arrow flips
Sinks
into
way
his
too deep.
into his shoulder.
All right, and that's my turn because I can't do anything else other than that.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Kill him. Come on, guys.
It's his turn next.
No,
Nope, you have a surprise round. So
Oh.
Carrick.
Okay, so Carrick.
So we can do. We have a full turn. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I did my special attack, because otherwise I'd just do a straight shot.
So actually, I'm not even gonna because I don't even need to move. I take it on a surprise round. You automatically get advantage or something, or how does it work with sneak attack?
With sneak attack,
Yeah.
you did start stealthed.
Yes.
Would
I be able if I shot before moving at this point?
yeah,
would I-
I'd let you do that. Go for it.
Yeah.
I don't get. Do I get advantage or just straight shot and get stuff?
You just a straight shot, but you get your sneak attack.
Okay, so short bow, plunk. If that doesn't hit, then nothing that Alex Adams wouldn't have. So he takes 8 and 12 damage as an arrow goes flying over the dwarf's head.
Nice.
All right.
And
Right. Sorry about that. Okay, so 12 damage.
Mm-hmm.
嗯 Yes. 嗯
Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice. 嗯 Very nice
Since it's a little bit of time, I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick because I need to.
Right. Corvus, you are up.
Corvus. Assuming he grabbed a short bow from when Thaldir unloaded.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
you all got all of your equipment from Faldir's strange stash.
All his stuff.
That's a hit, I'm guessing, yes.
For it to come through. Yep, that's a hit. Right, 7 piercing. Okay, funk. So many arrows hitting him.
That was a sneak attack on the one.
Okay.
And he is going to move. Okay.
Alright. I can do this.
There you
Augie.
Okay. Argy's gonna move up to here, and she's going to fling one of the darts that she's got.
Okie dokie. Oh,
That's
that is a
gonna be a
miss. Stark whistles through the air and funks into a tree beside him.
As a tree splits. Barbarian.
Is that all?
Yep, that's it.
Faldir.
All right.
I'm purposely not taking the rest of my move.
Question, does anyone else see their name next to their token on the turn order?
You'll only
Yeah,
see your
you
own.
should.
You only see
Okay.
yours.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's basically in every token there's a thing where you can set it so that other players can see the name of the token
Go to Thaldir.
or not, which Ali doesn't have it set so we can see the names of the rest.
Yeah, which is fine
That
because otherwise it
is-
clutters up the map with our names
Mhm.
everywhere.
Exactly.
We gotta know what we look like by now.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together for 4 days.
I have pulled out dual hand axes.
Which, by the way,
in
has everybody
process
been
of
eating their
moving them.
rations?
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
4 days.
Yeah, 4 days.
Well, we could price out
Uh,
because, in theory, I think Cat Dance character can actually just forage.
Yeah, if Haddam did forage for you guys, you wouldn't have to consume those rations.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's better to hold on to people. than
How many of us are there?
6.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect then.
Yeah, Outlanders can cover that.
Right, so you got your hand axes out.
And
Is that
that's all I can do because that's 2 movements. So,
Okay. Cassiopeia.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. There's one.
Okay, the dwarf needs to ride the centaur.
Now, question, because
Mhm.
I moved at least 30 in one movement and not the immediate following movement, can I still get my bonus attack?
Let me. Bonus attack? What bonus attack?
Yeah, for charge.
It's Rachel.
Charge. If you moves at least 30 feet straight towards the target and then hit it with an immediate attack on the same turn. Yes, you can. Yeah, if you use your.
Wait. Never mind. The way I'm reading in that, it's if you move at least 30 and then
Attack.
use a melee attack.
Yes, which you need to
Yeah.
use your action to do.
Yeah. You basically get it. You basically can use your bonus as an extra attack.
But I can still do that anyways. But no. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to
would you
move
have liked to move that far, knowing that?
Yes.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is, since I cannot use my bonus attack this round, I am going to rage.
Okay.
So I am now in rage state.
I thought you
I would like
you
to
get a
rage.
bonus attack already?
I have
charge from Centaur.
It's racial.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's movement bound.
Basically, she can kick.
Yeah.
She kicks like a mule.
Right, is that it, Cassiopeia?
Yes.
Right, Gifton, back to you.
Can I see okay to still shoot or no?
Oh god, I just left the page by accident. DM.
Yeah, you've got actually straight line basically.
Or should
Yeah,
I
if
move
you got a clear line of
sh-
sight.
should I move
Yeah.
up by Corvus, like right here, to get a better shot?
You do have a clear line if you want to do it from there.
Yeah, if you draw through someone else, they just get cover.
Oh, and by the way, I'm using my hand axe and shield.
Okay.
Alright, well, if I move up here, though, I'll stay clear, I think, even when people move up, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
So, anyway, I'm going to take the shot first, and then I'll just move closer, probably. I am taking a regular shot this time because he's already poisoned, and I can't really do it to him again, so... Doop-a-doop-a-doop.
Ooh,
Oh.
crit.
Wait.
That's
Wrong
long
weapon.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I did longsword on accident. It's
is
the
it
same
the
bonus.
same? It's the same
Same
roll.
bonus, yeah.
Okay. Do a arrow and just use just roll it twice. You still get your crit. It's a hit.
Yeah,
It's the same bonus.
Sorry. Alright, so just roll it twice.
Yeah.
Alright.
No, the attack
Oh,
roll.
the
There
damage.
you go. The damage.
That's what I'm doing.
There
I
you go.
had to click it
So,
twice to get the damage.
Is
I
the
think.
poison?
No, you don't.
Or
You can
oh,
always just click the damage
Oh,
twice.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Does the
19
poison
damage?
affect?
Yes, she has a inherent poison damage thing. It's the
nice.
poisoned effect she had to do the check for.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so 19? Nice. 49. Very nice.
Alright, and then I'm gonna move.
She's going to
You-
kill us
you-
before we get a
This way.
swing on it.
Hey,
You
I did-
see this little arrow go whizzing from the brownie and just impact this guy right in the center of his throat.
I want to get him in the
I did-
eyeball.
I did pretty damn good too.
You did really damn good, but it's just like I'm just pulling out these like little
Crit.
pin needle like arrows, just phew! And there's like this distortion in the air when I shoot because it's just crazy. So that's my turn. I moved.
Okay.
I have no movement, guys. This is really hard for me.
Alright. Mr. Berserker is very pissed.
I'm
You
continuing to
rage.
call him dumb things in Sylvan. Fat-lipped, like skull-brained moron, tooth licker. I don't even know.
So he is going to swing at the horse that is attacking him. I believe he's going to do reckless because he's pissed off. So everyone keep note. You have advantage to hit him until his next turn, and so is he.
I will ask in case of stamina. Is that all attacks or just for melee?
Those are both misses.
Yeah, they're both misses. And that is for against him. All attacks have advantage.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, he swings at the centaur in fury, but his axe swing goes wide. All right, Carrick.
Have we? I'm figuring we probably introduced ourselves in a little bit when we've been traveling, right?
Well, you all knew each other anyway.
Well,
Except Gifton.
I was just saying that's why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
A little bit more
Because-
getting to know each other and figure
I
out.
unfortunately
what
know way too
feel
much about some
okay.
people. The nice thing is he already had a disadvantage on his attack rolls and ability checks because he's poisoned, so this is awesome.
You
Oh,
can
yeah, so that would
move
actually
over
equal out
here
to just normal.
and
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
No. You insult him like this, and I repeat what she says, but in giant.
You repeat the Sylvan in Giant?
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Yeah, I can't. Okay. That's right. You were insulting Sylvan, weren't you?
Hmm.
Yeah. No. They don't understand that. You have to speak like this, and I start saying just random shit because I don't want to think of different words right now. And then
this furious, angry barbarian
oops.
looks like, why is he saying
I'm not even
tomato
gonna
cat?
roll the second time because
Wow.
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Nice.
There and
I'm sorry. For me, it actually
Roll that
came up
sneak attack
blank
twice.
plus
Yeah.
blank on your damage.
15.
So it didn't show any damage
Very
whatsoever.
nice.
So I was like, why didn't it roll the numbers? Nice.
Okay, he staggers, and he does not look good. He looks bewildered, confused as to where you've all just come from, and he's not doing
Why
Why
well.
is he
basically-
getting his ass kicked?
I'm basically
why
looking
why
from
are
my
these
bow-
arrows murdering him?
I'm basically looking from my bow up to Carrick with his bow, and I go, "You're cheating. Your bow's bigger."
And my little pseudo boss is going to use his single legendary action to try and do a desperate swing at Cassiopeia again.
Nice.
I'm gonna look down at the Fae and go, but yours seems to hurt more.
Right, does 15 hit?
No.
Oh,
Oh.
it goes wide, and
I would actually think at that point, because it's above my natural AC, but it's into the shield AC,
Oh.
yeah, it clunks against the shield.
and she's just smiling at him.
All right, Corvus.
Corvus will look
fixed
at the
that.
other two, and then, well, might as well.
Yeah, the second shot hits. Go for it.
It was almost sad.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, god damn it.
Oh, you
Oh,
get
there we
sneak
go.
attack?
No,
Nice.
that's it. Okay. Actually, where are you getting sneak attack from?
He's a rogue.
He's
No,
a
no, no. I
rogue.
mean, what's triggering
Oh.
it right now?
Technically, it would be Cassiopeia being within 5 meters.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
5
Right.
feet.
So
Yeah,
the
it's like that's the same trigger.
yeah
So
the
sneak
uh
attacks.
the arrow goes sailing and strikes the barbarian directly in the center of his chest. He looks down at the arrow, confused as to how does this happen to him, such a mighty warrior, and then slumps and falls.
I'm gonna lower my bow. Is everybody okay?
Not that person. Pointing at the one that we watched get killed.
Oh,
Or
hey, a
Kurt get
pony!
killed.
Argy's gonna look over and go, for the
Pony.
record, that isn't how you insult him. And she's going to let out a extremely expletive-laced line in Giant.
I'm gonna try and slow you
Like
down because
solid
I need
30 seconds
I
worth of
need
just...
syllables here, and then I start getting really confused and doing that thing where I start talking hyper fast in Sylvan, and then coming back to common and going, do you say it like Ustai Trooper, or is it Ustar? We're gonna learn. I need to learn some words from you at some point.
She's gonna teach her how to speak Giant eventually, because she gets to teach someone else swear words. It's great.
I know. I'll
gonna,
learn swear words. This is great.
I'm gonna start digging for my arrows.
I don't like the horse.
I will point to Sam that she wants to do the same.
Oh yeah, I should go look for my arrows.
You get half of them back that you fired.
I shot 2, so I get 1.
Yeah.
Do you round
Yeah,
up or round
one.
down?
Round down is the rule.
Darts are different, I think.
Yeah, darts. I think you.
I don't know if darts break, because arrows is basically the idea that they're not the actual weapon. I think.
Yeah.
Darts
Actually, you should be able to get darts back, shouldn't you? As they're just
Yeah,
thrown.
that's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You can
Yeah,
always
the
get your
only
darts
thing
back.
Yeah, I can
Okay, she'll go and reclaim the one from the tree.
get one of my arrows out and sitting there pulling on it forever. It's really in there.
Argy will just comment.
I can maybe cut it out for you if you'd like.
Oh, you'll cut it. I got it. Ah, I got it. Oh, that's really sad about these people that died. I wish we could have been here a little faster.
Gonna.
I don't want to go by the horse. I just don't want to go by the horse.
Yeah, I was like about to go to the horse and like, no, I
The
shouldn't go
horse
near
is
the
just
horse.
watching you all in that horsey way.
Yeah, see, I know horses
Nay.
around small animals, and I don't want this.
What's it?
I'm gonna start kind of poking at the other bodies, seeing
Does
if they have any markings or
the horse have any
like
tack?
that's where they come from.
The horse is in some very, very simple, crude
Halter and something.
halter and saddle. It has a couple of satchel bags on its side, but they don't appear to be containing much. Blackie, if you want to give me an investigation check.
Sure.
Corvus will also kneel down and look at the other body.
Okay. You also give me an investigation check, please.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
very
great.
nice. Okay, so Blackie,
Yes.
the one directly beside you, because Cassiopeia is horribly standing over another body. That's disturbing.
That's what horses do.
Appears to be a human male, probably in his mid-20s. He's wearing chainmail, which is unfortunately ruined. He has a short sword on him. As you check over his body, you find a map. It's of the local area. There seems to be sort of crude markings indicating some of the mountains further to the east, as if a spot on them.
Okay.
There's also about 1 gold piece, 3 silver, and copper, just in loose change in his pouch. There is a backpack beside him. It's just got some travel rations in it, a basic bread roll, about 3 travel rations at this point.
We're taking it.
Yeah, I was
Somebody
gonna
write
say
that
my
down.
character. My character actually has no
Do we have
compunctions
a loot
because
thing we
he
can write stuff
actually.
down in?
Let me do that for you right now.
My character actually, as a ideal, there's no crying over spilt milk. So the fact that they're dead, yes, it's bad, but we should,
All
you know,
players.
take.
There you go. There is a thing you can fit out.
All right. So what did you say? It had 3 rations.
Yeah, 3 rations,
Bedroll.
1 gold
1 gold, 3 silver, 10 copper.
and a map. A little
10 copper,
area.
you said?
Yeah, 10 copper.
Yes.
And a map.
Damn.
And a short sword.
All right.
And a
I
shorty
have
sword.
written it down.
I, however, am going to take the horse's saddlebags.
Okay. As you move over to the horse, it gives you a confused whinny, nudges its muzzle against you as if looking for food. For being a barbarian's horse, it seems awfully friendly. You're able to unhook the saddlebags easily.
Okay, so
I'm going to check the saddlebags to see if there's any feed in there for it.
There is a little bit of feed. There is some jerky, about 4 days worth of rations. There's a lot of blankets across the sort of back of the saddle. There's a water skin, mostly empty.
Okay.
Are we both typing, Ellie? Sam?
I'm not typing anything.
Okay.
I already filled it in.
You said there were a second bedroll.
Hey, Gifted.
Yeah.
Something about the mage catches your eye.
I don't know. I'm gonna go over and check out the mage since Corvus gave it kind of a
that's a good
cursory
idea.
kick and was done.
Yeah.
Corvus is more poking at the cuts and gashes and just kind of looking those over.
Give me an investigation check, please.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put horse in our list.
That's not a good
No,
roll
do
for
not
me,
put
by the
a
way.
horse in a bag.
No, it's not good. Not everything's
Okay.
in a bag.
So, you don't actually pay much attention to the mage's belongings. Those robes look like they're a pain in the ass to search through. You give a quick pat to the pouch and quickly dismiss it. But what is obvious, even with that terrible, terrible roll,
Hey, I got a 9.
is beneath the mage's long sleeve is movement. And a tiny little draconic head pops out, looking worriedly about.
Oh, hey!
Um,
Guys, it's a dragon!
The dragon looks briefly alarmed, and then you get a series of flashes in your head, thoughts, shapes, feelings, colors, that all amount to
Square!
Safe.
Square! Yeah, safe. Bad man gone? It's okay.
The little dragon thing crawls its way out and perches itself up on the mage's chest, boring at him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then its head droops down.
He didn't make it. I'm sorry. The bad man hurt him before we got here.
The little pseudo dragon glances around again, looking at the dead barbarian, and it lets out a squeaky little hiss as it hops off and chomps at the barbarian's thigh.
Brave dragon! I clap.
It seems to puff up a little bit, but there's still that sad, forlorn look in its eyes as it moves over towards you.
Hi, dragon.
There is
I'm
more
sorry.
flashing in your mind as it seems to suggest friend.
Friend. I will try to pet it.
It flinches briefly, is still a little worried, but it gradually leans in and lets you do so.
Okay, guys, we got one more.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't even take up a full person's rations, so we could
And-
probably feed both of them with the Outlander.
There you go, Sam. Populated in the character sheets.
Yay, dingus.
Just making sure there was. You said 4 days of rations, water skin, and
Yep.
the bed roll. That was it.
Yep.
On the horse.
And some feed for the horse itself,
And some- okay.
and some blankets.
I'm gonna drag
Yeah,
That's
dingus
right.
out.
Blankets.
Dingus.
And there is also the horse itself.
Yep, I put horse, saddles left, bags taken by Cassio.
Yeah.
What
how
are we gonna
about-
call the horsey?
Dead thing. What is it?
Do you know the horsey? Is the horsey your friend? Look at the pseudo dragon.
Pseudo dragon shakes its head.
Okay.
We'll call
Oh,
it horse.
That is Foot Fixer. That is Dashing Boy.
Who's, by the way, still in the regular clothes. He hasn't actually pulled the fancy ones out yet. He's a
That's
little worried.
Tussles.
Which one's Tussles?
The one with the red frilly
Okay.
hair.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was Tussles like that or like Tussles like fighting.
That's Thaldir Forgehammer. He's
Both.
a gardener.
As she introduces each of you get a flash of color and sort of friendly intent in your mind from the little pseudo dragon.
And that's Cassiopeia. She makes furniture.
It's kind of like being back with
Still
Paige.
slightly bloody, carrying a big axe.
It's Paige. I mean,
No,
it's
it's not. Paige is far more
Yeah,
hyperactive.
wait, we're active.
The pseudo dragon looks up at you, Cassiopeia, looks at your lower body, glances over at the horse, then glances at you again and tilts its head to the side, and there's just a little mop noise. Questioning squeak.
Just imagining how many dogs just turn their head towards you.
Possibly.
Oscar and Finn are just like, what?
Can I check the other two bodies also?
Yeah, you can.
Another roll.
I mean, another investigation, one for each.
I have become
Mage first, then
I have
Goliath.
become disinterested with the goings on of the mortals.
Mages.
And
I
basic-
will look at the barbarian.
Okay. Okay, mage and barbarian. Okay, so first with the mage, Corvus, not Corvus, Carrick. On the mage, you find a wand.
Okay.
On the mage, you find a little satchel.
Are you writing this down, Blackheart?
Yeah.
Good.
One from mage. Satchel. Is
You
there anything
find
in the satchel?
3 gold, 25 silver, and 30 copper.
Gold. Hold on.
Money.
27
That is-
silver.
Yep. And 30
And-
copper.
Thank you.
And that's in a separate coin purse. You're opening up the satchel to take a look.
Yes.
There's nothing but void inside, but a lot of it.
What is it?
I don't know. Actually, wait.
Give me
I'm
an
gonna-
Arcana check if you so.
I do have.
You know that this is a bag of holding.
I think we found a bag of holding.
Yeah,
Um,
usually I put things in my bags.
No,
been our
no, no,
purple
no,
bag,
no.
isn't it?
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Okay, close up. See how small this bag is? It shouldn't hold, that horse's saddle, right?
What?
Open it up,
What?
unhook the saddle,
No, don't
put
do
the
that.
saddle in the bag.
They never like to put them back on.
Yeah, that's going to be problematic.
I've handled animal +2.
Good.
You taking this out of the horse?
Yes.
Okay. The horse sort of nuzzles at you as you do so, and shakes its head about happily.
Horse likes not
and
being ridden
I'm
right now.
gonna put it in the bag and close the bag.
Huh. Let's see. I take out my backpack and I point at it, and then I pick up a rock, which is like a tiny pebble, and I put it in and go, "Behold!"
Burnaby! Ha! How much of a dick am I?
And
I'm very tempted to pick up gift and put her in the bag. Don't close it.
No.
It holds a lot more than it should, and I'm gonna
It's
take it
bigger
off
on the inside.
a lot bigger.
I toss the rock out of my bag because I really can't carry that much shit, guys.
I am going to do this. I'm gonna put the saddle back on.
I'm gonna make the horse roll
Okay.
because it's your stranger right now.
Yep.
It briefly liked you.
Yeah, it did like you though, but now you're putting it on the thing it didn't like.
Oop.
Of course he said no.
It stomps back as far as it can on the reach of its rope and
Okay.
whinnies and shakes its head.
When it starts to stop, move back, I'm gonna stop and be like, okay.
Maybe we just let
Let's
it
do
walk
this.
for a while.
That
No one
was
can ride it
trouble.
probably anyway right now.
No.
It does still have its bridle one.
Okay.
We can just
I'm
lead
gonna
it
put.
for now.
I'm gonna start putting the stuff we got.
Also on the barbarian, bugger all, some furs and such. Most of its stuff was in the satchels on the horse.
Okay.
What was the weapon it had?
It had a what do you call it?
Great
A
axe.
great axe.
Okay. I'm gonna look at that and ignore it. 'Cause
You can take it, but technically none weapons are actually salvageable. So
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
even. I just wasn't sure if it was something different than what we had that someone might want. So okay.
Well, this would
So
be nice
everybody-
when you guys get to a town. You have a horse. Wonder
Yes,
how
the
many more days
horse
we're gonna
would
have
be
to hide in the
quite
woods, though.
I mean, we could try to get crap. I thought one. My mom had told me that last time she knew about my father was in Needlewood, and there's other towns out towards there.
I will say you guys have basically moved they're not really hexes, but the squares through the woods. You've moved 2 away from Tarnstead.
Through the woods, I'm saying, so.
Which direction? I know, obviously.
East.
Northeast.
Northeast.
Yeah.
So we're in the wooded. We're going through those wooded hexes there. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I've never been out of Tarnstead before. Have you guys traveled much?
I've been up to Alebridge and Serdor.
I
Wow.
was very young when we came. Mom never said why. She brought me here without Dad.
Well, I mean, I guess we might as well keep heading
I was told I'm
northeast.
from Wendon, but damned if I know anything but between here and there.
I
know that there are villages far to the north. There is Elbridge to the southwest and southwest Heim to the further northeast. You also have a map marking the mountains to the east.
You can also
you
see
don't
what
know
that
why.
map's about. Do we want to see what that's about?
The mark's just a mark. There's no nothing.
It's like it's a clearly indicated spot in the mountains, but there is
But there's
nothing
no
to
way
actually
to
suggest
track
what it is.
Okay.
I mean,
that's the map from the adventurers.
Yep.
Okay.
why don't we go and see what this is? I mean, maybe it's a meeting
Oh,
spot for like military.
did they have any symbols or anything on them, by the way?
Oh yes, actually they do indeed. Both of them have what looks like a little copper plaque, but it looks like it's a squashed, rolled out copper piece. But it's flattened and it does have their names inscribed on it.
Boy.
There's an Adventurers Guild.
We
what
should
kind of
take
checks
these
could
because
we-
they might need to identify who died.
Yeah. If
What
you
kind
want
of-
to make a check of what it is, you can do a history check. Very easy one.
Would that be also telling what the group it came from then?
Not really.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, is if we know if this came from a specific group or
I'm
something.
gonna try.
Insight,
Sort of.
maybe?
History, she said. Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
History.
I'm consistently
Hey!
a 9er.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I never left town in my life, so...
Maybe.
What the fuck?
I'm
Maybe.
curious. I don't honestly think I'll get
Oh my
Okay.
god!
The old
Thank
man
God.
knows.
Foul dear, you. What the hell?
Maybe my
Entirely in
father.
Was it a 10?
We were
Was it a
It's
recently...
10. It's DC 10.
We were
Okay, I was
recently
okay.
close.
We were recently
Valdir and Corvus, you know that within this kingdom, you cannot do mercenary work without being licensed and approved. Otherwise, you are treated as a bandit.
Oops.
It's some people nickname them adventurers and such, and there are jokes about there being an adventurers guild. But all it is you go into an office and you get appointed, and you pay a small tithe. Traditionally, they will then take a piece of coin from you, and it will be rolled out and punched to be your marker.
Oops, we just bandited.
No, we self-defensed.
There is also there does tend to be a reward for turning in adventurers' marks if you can also prove their death didn't come from you.
We should bring this to a town.
We should probably also get to a town to let people know what happened.
I don't even really know towns are around here anymore.
So maybe it's a treasure map.
If you do want to check out the treasure map, if you do go up to Southwest Time, you can then actually travel pretty much directly east to the mark.
I do
Well,
have to say one
we
thing.
do
Allie.
have to.
I love some of the names.
Random gen names are great.
Yep, I figured that's what it was. Especially
Well,
since Southwest
Southwest Time would
Time,
probably be
depending upon
closer.
where you're coming from, is not south nor
It's in fact northeast.
Yes, from where we started.
We do have to at least inform this guild that their members have fallen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we could do that, but I'm kind of worried. I mean, I guess we could start veering back west. I mean, I can get you to the road then, right?
Why would we go west?
Well, that's where Southwest Time is. You have to go west.
No, it's actually northeast.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
northeast. Oh yeah, it is northeast. Yeah, we gotta go northeast. Sorry. Yeah.
But
I guess. I guess. Yeah, I guess if we
It's a
keep-
terrible name.
Yes, it is. I got confused. I was looking over because I have a smaller version of the map up.
Yeah.
So I was looking to the west where there's that little one by the river,
Oh,
and I was
bridge.
like, it's over there.
Mhm.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, yeah, let's. I mean, it's the closest city anyway, and it'll be good. Maybe there'll be more survivors there.
From what Miss Thornberry used to say, there's a lot of them. That's supposed to be the direction for Needlewood. Also, supposed to be other ones up in that area. So even if we can't get, even if that's not helpful, maybe one of the other ones might.
Yeah.
Also, Allie.
Allie.
I like Dollywood. At least I'm pretty sure that's a Y.
Do I recall any of this guild activity in Wintercroft?
You were too young.
Okay.
God damn it! You're supposed to have you living the opposite side of throwing burgers out the window.
What?
Well, as you all decide to, sounds like head northeast.
Is it
Yeah.
okay if I kind of lay low with you guys when we get there?
Sure.
Okay.
May as well.
I'm not supposed to be out. It's like a bad thing.
So, do you all take your brand new horse and head that way?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Probably.
will. Corvus will he will untie the lead to the tree.
The horse seems pretty happy to follow along. And do you take any identification for the barbarian with you?
Was there identification?
The head.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Head, shove it in the bag.
Yep, shove it in a bag.
Got a bag of holding.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Corvus would then turn and look at his bone saw. It's like, give me a moment.
Oh no, there's no moment. There's just Caspia
Please.
was suddenly with battle axe overhead coming straight down.
Make me
yes.
an attack roll, please.
It is possible to not snicker snack that
Wait,
in one swing.
do you have a
that is
great
a horrible
axe or
thing that
just a
happens for
battle axe?
executioners.
I have a great
can,
axe.
you can have advantage because it is pro.
I'm getting a fucking hit.
I'm just imagining, like, carefully
Okay,
lining
you
up.
are on mark. You sever through the neck.
Oh, see, I would have made it be a strength save because it's just going through that. Because executioners usually can't sever the head in one hit.
Yeah, executioners aren't typically fantasy barbarians, so.
True. They're not.
Damage based.
Yeah.
Very, very skillful, Cassiopeia.
You sure you want to heft the head around?
Well,
Gruesome.
in that bag, I think it would be all right. If I recall, it just kind of keeps it in there.
I'm gonna position it over in the corner, away from all the money and everything else.
hmm
Post the
I'm gonna hop along, following with the pseudo dragon, and I'm basically gonna be trailing behind everybody now, like talking to the pseudo dragon, and I'm gonna be telling all these really weird air quote fairy stories that are literally from the fairy's perspective about like fairy knights and like dragons and all sorts of like weird stories about that shit she can remember from her grandma.
The pseudo dragon listens rapidly to you. Occasionally, you get emotions and flashes and colors. In return, it seems pretty happy to hear these stories. Mention of brave dragons as such makes it puff its chest a bit.
Yeah.
And as you all move along, it actually lowers its head a bit, as if trying to beckon with its wing. Get on.
Okay. Well, I'll climb on.
Yeah. It's awkward because there's no saddle. You got to sort of grip tightly, but he moves slowly enough just to keep up with the group.
Yep.
I have string. You can tie yourself on.
And as you all start to head northeast, that is where we will end for the night.
Hey.
Woo!
Did we make? Are we level 1?
You are level 1, and you all get 100 XP each.
Yay! I have to record XP. That's my bane.
Is there actually a spot to do
That was
Yay,
really good.
Ali.
Yes, there is up in the
Also,
corner.
Ali, kudos for running that many people that long separate. That had to be a marathon.
It was tricky.
It got a lot easier when we all got together, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to hit the dial.
Alright, I got my 100 XP.
I was like, that was the reason why I was just going like, I'm gonna stealth, because it makes one less person you have to keep track of.
Sam.
Yeah.
Crit buddies.
Crit buddies! I actually just like how you came up and stood beside me and was like, well, I'll crit too. And it's like air
Hopefully
brofist.
that was okay.
I thought it was
Yeah,
awesome.
Good.
It was really good.
That's
really
great
good.
intro.
Great intro.
Way to kill
And you,
people
I was just,
close
and
to
you
other
almost
people.
killed
Yeah.
Toby.
Yeah! You almost killed the person closest to Toby himself.
How close were you to die? How close were you to 0, Toby?
That was half.
Okay.
I
would have left me with
barbarian,
2.
so I mean.
Well, that doesn't always mean a whole.
Yeah.
I did have a.
It's not like he could
barbarian
have
with a
raged
negative
right
con
then
once.
to save himself, so he was kind of in
No.
a bad way.
Well, I mean, barbarian's a D10, and if he has
No, barbarian's
No, they're
D12.
Oh, it's
Right,
12?
only D12. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
So-
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbarians have
12.
the biggest hit die in the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes, we'd have at least 12
I'm assuming
if
you
he
had
somehow
a-
ended up with no con.
You have like 14 con, right?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so 14 each.
Yeah, you have more hit points than me, but that's fine.
I have 9.
I have 12.
I should have more hit points than you. There's more of me to hit.
And remember to stop your recording.
I am doing that right now, so it doesn't go
Yeah.
all night.